Head coach of the Houston Oilers. Houston, by the way, won the toss, and they will be receiving, so Jack Pardee and the run and shoot will start it all off, and Bobby Ross will have his run and shoot defense. And that means that you're only going to see one linebacker, and that'll be Junior Seau, and you're going to see a host of defensive backs. And I said it was a gorgeous afternoon. Well, just how gorgeous is it? 71 degrees, the humidity at 66%, a little high on the humidity. Wind is just kind of clearing everything out, and the forecast is for even more.
Charlie, last week against the Denver Broncos, the game that you and I broadcast, the Chargers really looked flat at the beginning. You can blame that on the home field advantage of the Broncos or the altitude or whatever else, but clearly it's a different day here in Jack Murphy Stadium. The crowd is fired up, introduced a lot of the old alumni. They're set today to put Charlie Joiner and Down Chance into their Hall of Fame. Just a really big day for the Chargers here in Jack Murphy.
And John Carney is kicking it off. And will he Drury or will it be Pat Coleman? Pat Coleman on the return, and he's out near the 20-yard line. Look at the offensive set for the Houston Oilers. Donnelly, Munchak, Matthews, Dawson, and Williams. That is the offensive line. Excuse me, Norgard is starting at left guard. Munchak has a knee problem. He will be suited, will be on the sideline, could play. But right now, Norgard gets the call. Warren Moon, of course, will lead the run and shoot with White Jeffries, Slaughter Duncan, and Ernest Gibbons. And Warren will start it from the 20-yard line. And he throws behind Ernest Gibbons. It will be second down and 10. And the ball still at the 20-yard line. Defensively, this is what you will see. Grossman, Mims, Winter, and O'Neill. That's your front four. You're only going to see, as I mentioned, one linebacker, and that will be Junior Seau. Everybody else is in the secondary. 4 corners and 2 free safeties.
Well, clearly, that's one of the things that the Houston Oilers can do to a defense. In a lot of cases, you take some of your best players off the field because they're not people that are integral to the pass defense.
And here is Lorenzo White, and he is going to get a yard, and that is it. Blaze Winter and Leslie O'Neill were there. Leslie with the football right now. Still belongs to the Oilers.
Clearly, this is one of the things that was lacking last week for the San Diego Chargers. We were used to watching Junior Seau do backflips and scream, people firing one another up and hitting each other on the helmet. They didn't have that last week. Certainly they have in the first 2 plays.
And one of the Chargers told you, we are a team that has to have enthusiasm.
Stan Brock, the offensive tackle, 14-year veteran who played for the New Orleans Saints, says the Chargers, frankly, are just not good enough to show up. They have to play their best ball week in and week out.
Third down and 9. Moon throws, it is incomplete, way behind Curtis Duncan. And you're seeing and hearing a situation here in Jack Murphy Stadium that you have not seen that often in the past decade, and that is you have a sellout crowd, and you have a crowd that from the get-go is right in the ball game. And this, of course, will raise the level of play of the Chargers.
Well, let's not forget something else, Charlie. The Chargers are a very young team. First of all, that 46.9-yard average was an AFC record that Montgomery set last year, which when you think of people like Gerald Wilson, Ray Guy in the history, that's quite an accomplishment.
Good kick.
Oh.
And here is Darian Gordon from the 26, bobbles it, picks it up, and he is dropped at the 26-yard line. So there will be no return after a 54-yard kick by Greg Montgomery, and Blaine Bishop, the rookie from Ball State, was down for the Houston Oilers.
Just to follow that up, Charlie, San Diego is a team that's either the 3rd or 4th youngest in the league. Even though they had their 11-5 record last year, they really did it a lot on instinct. This is not a veteran ball club, and so as a result, in a lot of cases, younger teams need that emotion to spur them on from week to week.
The Chargers huddling at the sideline now, coming out. They will not huddle. They will run their first play with Moten, Zandowski, Hall, Picozo, and Brock as the offensive line, and we'll set the rest of it in just a moment. There's a quick look at it, but they're set to go. First down, their own 26-yard line. Humphries, of course, is the quarterback, and he gives to Marion Butts. And Marion's going to pick up a couple of yards on the play, and that's going to be it. Wilbur Marshall, the leader of the defense for the Oilers, was there.
2 yards on the carry.
And we'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the Seattle-New England game. Here at San Diego, we are just underway, and we have no score between the Houston Oilers and the San Diego Chargers. As you can see, not quite 2 minutes into the ball game, Seattle defeating New England by a score of 17-14. Humphreys backs to throw, wants to go deep underneath the coverage, and he underthrows his intended receiver, and that is Nate Lewis. And Nate, of course, in Denver was truly mile high with a career day of 10 receptions and 119 yards last week.
And wide open. I know that Humphreys wants this one back. Look at the deep in route there by Nate Lewis, wide open, frustrated by the fact that Humphreys, for whatever reason, was short on the throw.
Interesting, because in Denver he was long on most of his throws. He was leading them by a little bit.
Well, again, let's be fair to him. He's still getting over some shoulder problems, and last week he said he was about 85 to 90%. You'd think that this week he'd be even more improved.
Close to 100. And Mr. Third Down, Ronnie Harmon, is in the offensive set. We have flags on the play. And the pass is intercepted down the sideline by, that is Chris Dishman. But the flags were flying. Did the whistle sound before the play got off? It may have. Anthony Miller was the intended receiver.
Well, if Humphreys gets a free play, I'm sure he's glad, because that was a tremendous play by Dishman. Excellent anticipation to pick that ball off.
Ed Hockley is the referee.
Offsides on the defense. Several members of the defense team. 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
A false start on the defense.
Charlie, Chris Dishman 2 years ago actually had a stretch of games where he had 6 straight games with a turnover. That's unbelievable for a defensive back, whether it was an interception or a fumble return. Right there, terrific anticipation. He had the reputation for being a bad guy a couple of years ago when he was under Jerry Glanville, but he put that behind him and became a Pro Bowl cornerback, arguably the best defensive back on their club.
Third down and 3. And the pass is complete to Anthony Miller for the first down. 17 yards and the first down. And so the Chargers with a reprieve due to the penalty. Otherwise, the Oilers have the football.
This goes to show that you don't necessarily have to be a 4-5 sprinter, be nimble. Look at him floating to his left, and he shows the gun right there on the short corner route to Anthony Miller. Finds the seam in the zone between the corner and the strong safety. Big third down conversion for the Chargers.
And mark the ball at the 50-yard line. We have no score. 12:44 and counting in the first period. The Oilers 3 and out. They punted, the Chargers on the move. And here's Marion Butts. He's going to pick up close to 5 yards as we pick up the call from New York. And here's Jim Lampley.
Charlie, take a look at the climax in Foxborough. Patriots trying to come from 17 down to overhaul the Seahawks. Scott Sisson's 54-yard last-second field goal hits the crossbar. Can Parcells get any unluckier early? No. Seattle wins it 17-14. Charlie and Todd.
As you see here, between Houston and San Diego, no score. And it is second down and 5. And here's Marion Butts. He's going to get maybe a yard. That's going to be about it. He did not have a big game last week. 8 carries and only 4 yards for Marion. And here he has 8 yards in 3 carries, and now let's look at the Houston Oilers.
2 big additions here. Lee Williams and Wilber Marshall, both all-pro players, have been out the last couple of weeks with injuries. Buddy Ryan has said with the addition of both Williams and Marshall, this could be one of the 2 or 3 best defenses in the league. And
there is the secondary led by, as you say, Chris Dishman. Third down and 4. Humphreys to throw. Has pressure. Has a man, and it is incomplete to Nate Lewis. That was catchable. Very catchable, and you got to figure that what Humphreys did, which was impressive, he avoids the rush of Lee Williams, who's right in his face, throws off his back foot, throws a little bit of a soft ball. Take a look at Humphreys here. Lee Williams, number 97, is going to come up and be right in his face, throws off the back foot. That was actually a terrific throw. Watch at the other end. Lewis has too much time to measure it. Comes back for it. Yeah, it's a difficult catch, but I think even Nate Lewis would say he's going to come up with that one. And Kent Sullivan will be kicking. He's replacing John Kidd, who's out with a back sprain. He's going for the corner. He hangs it up. And Drury will move under it at the 9-yard line with the fair catch. So a good effort of 36 yards by Kent Sullivan. We've got a timeout. We'll be back.
maligned gentleman in the National Football League is this man right here, and for whatever reason, I don't understand, because everywhere he has been a winner. Coach of the Year in all 4 of these leagues, the World Football League, the National Football League, the USFL, and the NCAA with the University of Houston, he was a Coach of the Year. Notice here, only with the Bears did he have a losing record. And the whole idea is, yeah, that's all well and good to talk about Buddy Ryan coming in to take his place, but this is his man. The guy wins wherever he goes. What more do you have to do?
And he's wearing a headset. But it's Tank McNamara. It's plugged into an FM station.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
First down, Oilers from their own 10-yard line. Moon to throw. He is 0 for 2. Pump fake, rolls right. He's just going to head for the sideline, get about 5 and out. He's going to go out about the 16-yard line, where it will be second down. Stanley Richard was chasing him. Did you notice who went up for the Chargers as if to block the shot when he did the pump fake on the left side?
That was a foolish move there, because that was the reason he was able to pull it down and win, and nearly get the first down.
And a chance to take a look at the 10-minute ticker and the finals in the early ball games played this afternoon in the National Football League. Here we have no score, 10:48 in counting. We're in the first quarter. And the Houston Oilers, their second offensive possession, and they have a 2nd and 4. And here's Lorenzo White. He is the run part of the run and shoot. And the Oilers, to a man, told us that they have to get the run back in the ballgame. Stanley Richard with the tackle.
Well, people forget that Lorenzo White was arguably the biggest part of the offense last year. Certainly they talk about Warren Moon and the Fab Four and whatever else, but this is a man that had over 1,200 yards rushing, and he averaged over 11 yards a catch as a receiver. So he's integral to the success of the Houston Oilers. Last week, 24 carries for 48 yards and 2 yards a carry. That's awful.
Also, he fumbled the football last week. And that is first time in 2 years.
That's amazing.
That really is. 422 touches, rushing and receiving before he fumbled. This pass is complete to Curtis Duncan. Duncan with a nice move up the sideline and out. 13 yards on the play.
One of the things that Night Train Lane always taught was look at the stomach. The waist can't go anywhere. This is a rookie mistake on the part of Gordon. He'll look at the head of Duncan. Just a hook route. Now watch where he's looking. He looks up top, little shake with the hips. He's gone. Number 21 is looking at his head, and that's the mistake enabling Duncan to get the extra yardage.
Look at the stomach. Is it the belt buckle?
Belt buckle. There you go. Okay. You're right. Belt buckle.
I mean, if he was an older player, you could look at the stomach. I mean, these are all flat bellies. First down, 40-yard line. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up. Junior Seau was blitzing. Oilers picked it up. Pass complete to Duncan. Back-to-back first down. Gain of 12. Gordon with the tackle.
The discipline of the receivers for the Houston Oilers is crucial. Curtis Duncan sees two people come on the rush on the blitz, and he just hooks up quickly. Look at that. A mere 3 steps. Moon looks over. Duncan on the hook route again. That's what they call blitz protection. The receivers have to see what's going on inside to run those routes. Here comes Seau from the outside. Spins past Lorenzo White. Just gets enough of a piece, and Moon got rid of the ball too quickly.
First down. First time the Oilers have been in San Diego territory, and here's White. He jumps to the outside, and he is stuck. He'll get maybe a yard. That's going to be all, and you'll see something now. The enthusiasm of the Chargers defense, led by Junior Seau, Leslie O'Neal, and Marquez Pope, that they did not have in Denver last week. They were flat.
Once again, it makes a big difference to be in your own house.
And you come back to a sellout crowd with the noise factor there involved right from the beginning of the ballgame.
This is, Charlie, we also forget that this is a test for Houston as well. You know, the friendly confines of the House of Pain. Very different to be outdoors and on grass. Over the last couple of years, though, the Oilers have improved on the road, but they're a notoriously bad road team.
Good protection, knocked away at the line of scrimmage. And it was Blaze Winter that got a piece of it.
Blaze Winter, a great story from last year. Have resume will travel. Had a tape that he had for all the general managers around the league. Bobby Bethwick said, "We appreciate your efforts, son. I really like what you're about." He came in and had a tremendous year in '92 for the Chargers. Really a terrific personality. He adds a lot in the locker room as well as on the field.
Warren Moon only 2 of 5 for 29 yards. Lorenzo White 3 carries, only 7 yards rushing. Gibbons is the motion man. Here comes the blitz from the other side. It is intercepted at the 30-yard line. Darren Carrington with the interception.
And what a block by Junior Seau on the return.
It was all set up by the pressure from Chris Mims.
That's exactly right. Charlie, over the last 2 weeks, the big problem for the Houston Oilers has been the ability to protect Warren Moon. From the right of your screen, number 94 comes on a loop, just completely untouched. Moon uncharacteristically throws up for grabs. Look at the hit on Gibbons by Junior Seau on this return. Carrington cuts back to the middle, carrying the ball a la Walter Payton. He's lucky he didn't lose it, but that turnover sets up the Chargers in good field position inside Oiler territory.
26 yards on the interception return by Carrington. First down at the Houston 44. Humphries rolls out, throws back over the middle, passes complete to Sean Jefferson. That is only his second reception of the season. He picks up 16. He is the former Houston Oilers, of course, involved in the Lee Williams trade. He had a terrible game last week.
I was just about to say that, Charlie. You're right. Dropped 2 touchdown passes against the Denver Broncos. He really needed to get one early in the game to get some confidence. Humphries rolls to his right, finds Jefferson. He pays the price a la Marcus Robertson, but he hangs on to the ball for the first down.
These are his receptions by year, 12-29. Well, in 1993, you can output the number 2. Pass is complete to Ronnie Harmon, and he knew he was going to be nailed. And he was by Bubba McDowell. 11 yards, first down.
Ronnie Harmon is arguably the best pass catcher on this club, but in the first 2 weeks of the season, he had dropped 5 balls. If there was ever a ball to drop, this would have been the one on the short slant route. Here's the toughness of Ronnie Harmon. He knows he's going to get hammered by Bubba McDowell, but he hangs on to the ball. That shows a lot of courage, not only on the part of Ronnie Harmon, but that becomes infectious to the rest of the group and look at him and say he's willing to go for the middle, and we should deal with it.
Back-to-back first downs. Houston 17. Here's Marion Bucks, and there is nothing there. Wilbur Marshall, now the leader of the defense, joining with Al Smith on the stop for the Oilers. 10-minute ticker going by. You can check out the score.
Wilbur Marshall is an absolute key to the defense of the Houston Oilers. And talking with Sean Jones yesterday, he mentioned that he brings an intensity and leadership that's not so much verbal as simply by actions. There you take a look at the tackles that he had over the last 5 seasons, always over 100. He already has 4 in this game.
Butts is 7 yards deep. There's a play action fake. Humphries rolls, looks back. Everybody's covered. He throws it away. Excellent defense by the Houston Oilers. There was nobody open in the secondary.
That really was good coverage, Charlie, because that's a play that they had yet to use. The counter boot play, misdirection. Inevitably, you can find somebody loose, whether it's the back underneath of the tight end. Buddy Ryan, needless to say, had that one scouted out.
Johnny Barnes comes in. Nate Lewis comes in. Sean Jefferson comes in. Ronnie Harmon comes in, and you expect San Diego to throw on 3rd down and 8.
Pretty impressive resume, as you saw, by Buddy Ryan. Well-prepared defense.
And they are hitting. Here comes the blitz, and it's thrown up for grabs. It'll be a jump ball. It's incomplete. Anthony Miller went up for it, and Chris Dishman went up for it, and it is incomplete. But boy, Humphries under all kinds of pressure.
Michael Barrow comes on what's called the Bullets blitz from the middle. Watch number 51 from the right of your screen. There's absolutely nobody there. He comes untouched. He throws it up for grabs. Chris Dishman actually makes a good adjustment. Look, he's beat on the play by Anthony Miller, but because it was a lob ball, he was able to run back, get up with the jump ball, strip the ball away from Miller. Good defensive hold on a part of the Chargers inside the 20-yard line.
And for John Carney, a 34-yard field goal attempt. And this is to be number 24 in a row. And it is out to the right, but it cuts back in. A little bit of a hook on it. It is good. Chargers have the lead, 3-0.
BC is brought to you by Mazda. Mazda, it just feels right. By new Edge Aftershave. Ultimate comfort. That's the edge. By Burger King, where you can always get it your way, right away. I love this place. And by MetLife. Get Met. It pays.
Welcome back to San Diego. John Carney is kicking off. And Pat Coleman at the goal line. He had to return it. He was in a kind of a no-man's land. He'll be stopped at the 14-yard line. So the Houston Oilers will be going on offense. But right now we're going to step aside. San Diego leads. This is Charlie Jones and Todd Christensen. 5:20. That is the time remaining in the first quarter. The Chargers with the field goal of 34 yards by John Carney. That was set up. Darren Carrington's interception of the Warren Moon pass and the pressure put on by Chris Mims, the defensive tackle. The Oilers starting field position, their own 20, their own 10, and now their own 14. So Warren Moon has had his back to the goalpost here in the first period.
Credit there goes to the San Diego special teams. Excellent punt on the part of Sullivan and the kickoff coverage that last time.
And here is the reverse to Ernest Gibbons. Little change of pace. He's got the first down as he goes out of bounds. He caught the Chargers unawares. Stanley Richard finally chased him out after a gain of 16.
Little misdirection and a nice tackle, or a nice block rather. Watch the right tackle pulling. Number 73 is going to come out on Junior Seau. Seau has him on his sights. Look at 73. He just pounds into Seau, knocking him down, enabling Gibbons to get the extra yardage. Kevin Gilbride, the offensive coordinator, who was taking a little heat from the defensive coordinator in the press. But last week they started the game against the Kansas City Chiefs with a 19-play drive that ate up 11 minutes. So he knows ball control.
And here is Lorenzo White, and again a yard, and that is it. And he is met by everybody, including the enthusiastic Junior Seau. Now let's go to the enthusiastic Jim Lampley in New York.
Here's why I'm enthusiastic. The most dramatic moment of the early season. Closing seconds in Philly. Randall Cunningham looking for an 11th straight win at home. Back line to Calvin Williams. Third TD catch of the day for Williams, and the Eagles trailing all day. Pull it out over Washington 34-31. Back to you, Charlie.
The Chargers out in front of the Houston Oilers by a score of 3-0. And it is 2nd and 9 at the 31. And Warren Moon fires, pass is complete to Gibbons. He is pulled down. And at the 35-yard line by Sean Van Horn.
Key to defending the Houston Oilers is to limit the catches of the inside move receivers, in this case Ernest Gibbons and Webster Slaughter. They're the keys, particularly the third down people that come up with the big catches. Nice tackle by Van Horst in the open field.
For San Diego, Sean Van Horst and Darian Gordon, Donald Frank, and Marquez Pope. 4 cornerbacks there in the ball game. The 2 free safeties, Stanley Richard and Darren Carrington. So 6 in the secondary, a 4-man line, and Junior Seau, the lone linebacker. And here comes pressure from the outside, and the pass is incomplete. And that was a catchable pass. Stanley Richard was there. Webster Slaughter. And he is a hometown boy. Played his collegiate ball just about 5 minutes up Interstate 8 at San Diego State, but he couldn't hang on to this one.
The thing that teams have been doing, watch from the right of your screen, Marquez Pope, number 30, coming on the corner blitz. That's just not giving Warren Moon enough time to throw. Yeah, possibly that was a catchable ball. Good defense, but again, Warren Moon is hurried. His pocket time has been on an average less than 3 seconds, and that's just not enough to get it done.
Greg Montgomery, his second kick in the ball game. His first one was excellent. Darian Gordon is the return man. He is the rookie out of Stanford. And this one is a terrible kick, but it should get a good roll, and it does. So it turns out all right for the Oilers. San Diego is moving on offense when we come back after that 43-yard kick. .327, that is the time remaining here in the first quarter. And San Diego has a 3-0 lead over the Houston Oilers. And they have the football at their own 22-yard line. And Marion Butts gets the call. The San Diego Chargers would truly like, in football vernacular, to establish the run. And they haven't been able to do that.
No, they haven't. And it's an interesting point, Charlie, that over the last 3 years, they have really rushed the heck out of the football. Marion Butts, a 2-time Pro Bowl selection, second only to Buffalo in the National Football League over the last 3 years in rushing. Butts, 5 carries, only 13 yards. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's cliche to say establish the run, but I think for San Diego, it's crucial.
That's the way the offense is set up. Humphreys to throw. That's good protection now. He waited too long. He had protection long enough, but the Oilers secondary simply covered everybody. And speaking of covering everybody, let's go to Jim Lampley for an update.
Early touchdown in the Coliseum for the Los Angeles Raiders. Don't be fooled by the motion. Horton's just a blocker here. It's the backup tight end, Andrew Glover, on the back line. Hostetler still clicking for the Raiders. They lead Cleveland 7-0 in the first. Charlie.
And here we just had a loss of 10 on the sack, and it is 3rd down and 17 for the San Diego Chargers. And that means that Ronnie Harmon is into the offensive set. Humphries rolls out, throws, and the pass is incomplete. Nate Lewis wanted a pass interference call. He did not get it, as Darrell Lewis was draped all over him.
Watch the end of the play. Again, the argument, too, on the part of the officials whether or not this ball's catchable. Yeah, he's on top of it.
Oh, yeah.
He is on top of it. But then again, the argument is to whether or not the feet got tangled up, Lewis getting slipped, whatever else. In that case, yeah, it could go either way.
And Ken Sullivan to kick. The first kick, really it was a good one because he went for the sideline. Here's pressure. Almost blocked. He gets it away. It is a good one. Drury takes it on the fair catch at the 37-yard line. 47 yards on the kick. Ken Sullivan withstanding the pressure of the Houston Oilers. And be sure to be with us next Sunday as NBC Sports has more exciting NFL action for you. And here is a look at what you just can't see. Miami, Buffalo, Seattle, and Cincinnati. Those are the key games next weekend here on NBC.
Boy, look, for all intents and purposes, Charlie, the Bubba McDowell had this block. Watch in the middle. Watch number 25 is going to come up just completely. Oh, man. He walked right past it. He walked right past it. Look at how close this is. He's actually past the punter here. If his hands are down, he has that block. But you're right. Give credit to Sullivan, who has tried out with a number of different teams. Hasn't been successful so far. An outstanding job on 2 punts.
You're right. First down, Houston, their own 38-yard line. They trail 3-0. We've got flags. They'll bring this one back. Duncan was the intended receiver, and Gordon had the coverage, but the play had already been blown dead. And usually that means a false start on the offensive line.
False start by the offense, number 77, prior to the snap. There was no play. We'll repeat first down. Will the clock operator please put 5 seconds back on the clock?
Kevin Donnelly, Charlie, is replacing Don Maggs, who fled, via free agency for the Denver Broncos.
Thank you.
They made a great effort in the draft. In fact, they moved up to get Brad Hopkins as their #1 pick to play left tackle, but Jack Pardee told us that he's not quite ready. Donnelly has his hands full today for a lot of reasons, not simply the fact that he's playing a difficult position, but he's going against Leslie O'Neal, the AFC leader in sacks in 1992 with 17.
First and 15. Warren Moon has completed only 3 of 8 for 33 yards. Has an interception. And this one is complete on the far side. And that is Haywood Jeffries, who has led the AFL in receiving, AFC in receiving the last 3 years. His first reception of the ballgame. Old AFL.
That dates you.
Well, you know what?
The AFL.
Well, this is Alumni Day. And remember, before the ballgame, they were introducing Paul Lowe going back to the championship teams in 1963.
You're right. Absolutely right, yeah. But that is
That's my
impressive.
excuse. That doesn't erase the mistake.
Ironically enough, the last person to lead the AFC in receptions for 3 straight seasons was here in San Diego, Kellen Winslow, 81 and 82.
Second down. This one is drilled over the middle. Warren Moon now on target. He finds Jeffries again, 15 yards, and it'll be a first down.
And the coverage, Charlie, was by Donald Frank, and I asked Warren Moon, I said, is there anybody that you think you might pick on? And he says, well, 27 has had his struggles. Last week against the Broncos, he got beat a couple of times deep. We might look for him, and that's exactly what's happened here on these last 2 plays. Jeffries on the in route. Frank trailing behind makes the tackle, but not before Jeffries comes up with the first.
San Diego, 39-yard line, first down. 1 minute time remaining. We're in the first quarter. Gibbons is in motion. Bobble on the handoff, a dribble. Ball is loose, a scramble for it. Chargers have it. Second turnover of the ball game. And it was Darren Cherryton. He had the interception, and now he has the fumble recovery.
Here's what I think should happen in this position as a former player. The minute you drop the ball, take a look. As soon as he drops the ball here, if you can, kick the thing. Just push it out of bounds if you can. Don't try and recover it. Just kick the thing. Get rid of it. You take the 5-yard penalty, but you don't take the loss of turning the ball over to the other team. Clearly, he couldn't get the handle. Just knock the thing out of bounds. Get rid of it. Take the 5 yards, take your loss, and come back again. Instead, in trying to attempt to pick the ball up, it's a turnover for the Chargers.
And Webster Slaughter simply could not handle it.
And another thing ironic about this, Charlie, is that talking to Warren Moon yesterday, we asked who is the best hands of the receivers.
Yes.
Number 89, Webster Slaughter.
San Diego first down, their own 48. Humphries wants to go deep. He airs this one out to Lewis. Can he get there? No. He overthrows Nate Lewis by about 3 yards.
Sean Jones was in his face again. Sean with the sack earlier on Humphries. Take a look. Here comes Sean Jones from the bottom of your screen. He comes underneath on the loop. There he is, 96, right in his face. But Humphries thought he might have laid that one in just a little bit long to Lewis.
Remember last week, though, when we talked with Stan Humphries, we said, who is the other wide receiver besides Anthony Miller? Do you have one yet? He said, we do. His name is Nate Lloyd.
Yeah, 11 catches over 100 yards certainly proved that.
And he's going to him here and going to him often. Rolls out. Here's the delayed pressure. He goes deep again. And this is incomplete. Anthony Miller running into the defensive back, and that was Dishman. Dishman simply had position on him, and Anthony couldn't get past him.
And what Dishman did is shows the savvy of a defensive back. He knows that Anthony Miller is smarter than he is, or faster rather. Take a look what he does right here. He cuts him off and then looks back for the ball. There's no way that the official can call interference. He knows that Miller is faster than he is. He is heads up smart. And look at what he's trying to do here. He's trying to incite the crowd. He has had an excellent
No, he figures there's some Oiler fans here. He wants them to start cheering for him.
Is that what it is? Okay.
Stan Humphries, 5 consecutive incomplete passes.
Excellent coverage there on the part of Dishman.
Timeout, San Diego. That's their first team timeout.
And with
So
34 seconds left to go in the first quarter, San Diego takes a timeout. I am amazed by that.
Humphries was very angry with what he had on the field. They didn't have what he wanted out there, and that's what they're talking about right now.
It is 3rd down and 10. It's still a very costly timeout.
Well, especially early in the game, give credit again to the Houston defense. You get the turnover in Houston's territory. You want to strike right away and get something going, and that's exactly what they've tried to do with 2 long passes, but Houston's met the test.
And there is Buddy Ryan.
Talking to Eddie Robinson, he really likes Eddie Robinson. He was telling me, he's talking to Michael Barrow right there. He said that Barrow was the smartest rookie that he said he'd ever been around.
Yes. He said they give him a test every week, and he's had a perfect score every week with one exception. He missed one answer on one test.
And it was out of what, like 100 questions?
Yes,
right?
100 questions each week.
Very impressive.
And we asked Buddy, he said, how good can your defense be? He said, when we get healthy, listen to this, when we get healthy, quote, we can be dangerous.
And one of the things he said about Barrow is that he said 2 years from now, people will say that this was the best guy drafted on defense of the '93 draft. That's very impressive.
3rd down and 10. Here is pressure right up the middle. A flag is down. Anthony Miller on this side of the field. And he may get the pass interference call.
Well, what Darrell Lewis did there is, I don't know if it's going to be interference or did he chuck him illegally. Was the ball in the air? That would be the big argument.
Flag dropped around the 28-yard line.
And that's what the discussion's going
with
to be.
28 seconds left to go in the first quarter.
Pass interference on the defense, number 29. Automatic first down.
Now that's interesting because it was very difficult to tell whether or not the ball had been thrown. They threw the flag some 15 yards up the field from where the ball was, which would seem to indicate that quite possibly you see Bubba McDowell in the face. Now watch where the flag ends up. Okay, there it is right there. Now the flag, see, is completely back there, which means that if that contact had taken place before the ball was thrown, be a 5-yard defensive chuck, still first down, automatic first down, but it'd be completely a lot farther up the field.
And it took place prior to the camera got there too. You can see it. I mean, if you're sitting home, see, that wasn't pass interference. They called it for something that happened before what we saw. 24 yards on the penalty, and the ball at the 28-yard line. And here's Marion Butt. He goes off the right side. He's going to pick up 5, maybe 6 yards on the carry. Now when you go back and you factor in the pass pass interference, maybe the timeout wasn't that bad a call.
Well, what surprised me a little bit in this case, and again, far be it for me to second guess Buddy Ryan, but you've got 3rd and 10, and you have to wonder, why do you blitz in 3rd and 10? You've got one of the best front fours in the NFL. Let them rush, have 7 guys in coverage.
And
that's the end of the first quarter.
San Diego on top, 3-0. While we were away, here's the conversation on the field.
Dishman and Lewis are pleading their case with the officials, saying, wait a minute, you got to let us use our hands a little bit. You got all these 4-3 guys running all over the field. You got to give us some help.
And I think they were right on the call. Players.
Oh, yeah.
I think they had it.
I thought it was an illegal.
Play action fake. Here's the reverse to Lewis. And he just kind of stretches out at the end of the 16-yard line. He's got the first down. Darrell Lewis, no relation to Nate, makes the tackle.
I tell you who made an excellent play there was Wilbur Marshall. Watch as it comes back. It looks like everybody is fooled. Watch 58 in the powder blue pants. He's going to come back and he's going to see it and he's going to stretch it out right here. Look at 58. He's stretching it out, making Lewis go wider than he wants to. The other Lewis, in this case, Darrell, comes off the block and hammers Nate Lewis for really only a 4-yard gain. They got the first down, but it could have been a lot more.
Columbia blue.
What did I say?
Powder blue. Columbia blue.
Hey, wait, this from a man in a purple tie?
Eric Bieniemy makes his first appearance, and he is the motion man. And the throw in the end zone is incomplete. Derek Walker, the H-back, the intended receiver. One will be second down.
The versatility of Wilbur Marshall's in place here. You see him making tackles, interceptions. Here he has the tight end, in this case Walker, man for man on a post route. Look at him running stride for stride. He looks back. The throw is there. He gets some help from the safety who bats it down, but that's excellent coverage on the part of Wilbur Marshall. That's the position that he plays in the 46 defense, so vital to Buddy Ryan's schemes, was over the tight end.
And Wilbur Marshall, remember, had his knee scoped on August the 6th. 5-6 weeks ago.
Doesn't look like it's bothering him too much.
Not at all.
All over the field.
Quick drop, 3 steps, and is incomplete. Anthony Miller diving for it in the end zone, and Darrell Lewis picked him up.
Marshall coming on the blitz. Marion Butts picks him up, but you can see the happy feet of Humphreys here in the pocket. As soon as he saw those bodies coming, he threw that a little bit sooner than he wanted to. Here he comes to the inside blitz. 2 steps. He threw that a lot sooner than he cared to, and that's why he overthrew it. Pretty good shot there on the part of Marion Butts, putting Marshall down, too.
Johnny Barnes and Sean Jefferson check into the offensive set. Now, this is 3rd down and 10. If they do not pick up the first down, then we'll set this up for you. John Carney will be trying to tie the NFL field goal record. Humphrey stumbles coming out, and then the ball is dropped. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight incompletion.
Again, credit has to go to the Houston Oilers. They're putting all sorts of pressure. They come with the inside blitz again. He just does not have time to set up, and even if the catch would have been made, it would have been a first down, and that sets up this could be potentially historical field goal here. He would tie Morton Anderson for the NFL record with 25 consecutive field goals.
And speaking of 25, that's where the ball will be placed just inside of it. So it will be a 34-yard field goal attempt. He made one earlier from that distance, and he's got this one. "25 in a row. We'll be back in a moment.
Is brought to you by Domino's. Call Domino's Pizza now, and you'll be enjoying our new crunchy thin crust pizza during halftime.
And John Carney, who just tied the NFL record of 25 consecutive field goals, will be kicking off. Drury and Coleman, Willie Drury, number 85, and Pat Coleman, number 87, are the return men for the Houston Oilers. And he nails this one. And it'll be down in the end zone. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line.
Interesting point with regards to Carney. Here he ties Morton Anderson's record, but he's the only scoring that the San Diego Chargers have had at home in their first game against the Seattle Seahawks. Again, they won 18-10. All 18 points were via the 6 field goals that he had, now 2 here. And I mentioned to you at the break, I said, don't think that this man's not keeping track of that.
Oh, sure. Oh, look, and so is everybody else. Mark off those other. You got to X out those other two.
Now, they'll get in trouble if they jump down from the stands and do that.
Now, Morton Anderson, was it last week? Yes.
He had his 26.
He had his he missed 26. Started a new one, though, because he got the next one.
That's correct. He ended up getting the game winner in overtime, in fact.
Houston now from their own 20-yard line. Chargers have dominated the first half, but the Oilers down only by 6. Courtesy of the 2 turnovers. Pass is complete. We have a flag down on the play.
The play's going to come back because Webster Slaughter went in motion and he started too soon.
Well, no wonder he was open and picked up 16 that they will cancel.
Right. That'll come back.
Yeah. Ed Hockley is the referee.
Talking to Warren Moon yesterday, he was mentioning the fact that Webster Slaughter now with the training camp under his belt and understanding the offense more. Those who don't remember, Webster Slaughter was a midseason acquisition for the Oilers, free agent from the...
Illegal motion by the offense, number 89, moving forward at the snap. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That year in 1989, he had over 1,200 yards, over 20 yards a catch. He was a Pro Bowl receiver, and he says that this is going to be the man that's going to have some huge plays this year. He leads the team in average per catch with over 16.
4th penalty against the Oilers. The San Diego Chargers not been flagged. Houston 4 for 38. The big one, the 24 yards in the pass interference. 1st and 15 at the 15. And here is the draw to Lorenzo White. And both the Charger defense and the Oiler defense have shut down the opposing running game.
Well, the big issue here, the big factor that the defensive coordinators in particular talk about is team speed. And that's one of the things that San Diego has in abundance. If they start making them go east and west when they run like that, they've got too many fast guys that can run them down, and that guy right there, number 55, is one of them.
Lorenzo, 9 yards and 5 carries.
It's worse than last week.
Yeah.
Not even 2 yards a carry.
Like 2 yards a carry. Marion Butts is about the same.
Timeout, Houston. That's their first charge timeout.
12:42, time remaining, first half. Chargers lead it 6-0.
BC is brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors, makers of the all-new Galant, the new thinking in automobiles. By Xerox, the document company. See your documents differently. See your business differently. By Hilton Hotels. Hilton, so nice to come home to. And by Allied Signals Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go.
Welcome back to San Diego's Jack Murphy Stadium.
This man's looking like a genius today, but in reality, the turnover of the defense from 91 to 92 is amazing. This man who's been around the block for 30-plus years, the National Football League, is picking all the right spots here. So far, the Chargers have really stifled the run and shoot.
Leonard Harris has replaced Curtis Duncan as one of the wideouts for the Houston Oilers. Moon has pressure. And they're going to rule it incomplete. Junior Seau helping the officials out, of course. Gary Gordon was there. And Lorenzo White. And you know why he got his name. He has all that white stuff on his Columbia blue pants. Well, again, second up.
Again, third to 15, even if he comes up with the ball, it's a 4-yard gain. It just goes to show that Warren Moon, again, is not getting the requisite time. Front four is
both quarterbacks are really under a lot of pressure today.
Well, I was going to say, too, last week, Charlie, the San Diego Chargers secondary played poorly. Did not play well at all. And in this game, they're playing a lot better.
Yeah, the Moon would be black and blue. Yeah. We asked Warren about that because, you know, we had heard that his ribs were hurting and he's been taking a beating the first couple of games. Warren said, no, not anything more than the usual. Did you expect to feel this way? Good protection this time, but it's intercepted. And it is Junior Seau who pulls it down.
What a stop!
Cuts back, stiff arms, goes down, up. He is a show unto himself.
Look at this. An igniter and instigator, Junior Seau has this crowd on its feet, but what a great athletic play. Watch 55 in the middle of your screen show you some vertical leap. 4.5 in the 40, 450-pound bench press. It looks like about a 30-plus vertical leap, and look at him styling right there. Check me out, check me out. Cuts back to the middle, and maybe if he doesn't style quite so much as Ernest Gibbons puts him to the ground, he might have scored.
And the ball carrier is Natron Means, his first appearance in the ball game. First down and goal to go from the 9-yard line, and there's absolutely nothing there. Lee Williams, the former Charger, now he had his knee scoped on August the 25th. He's back for his first regular season action. He makes the, you know, he's not showing off. That's simply the personality of Junior Seau. I don't think it really upsets anybody because that's just Junior.
In this last week, Pro Football Weekly had an article on him as the most intense man in professional football, and after that, who's going to argue?
Second down and goal to go. Humphries to throw, has all the time in the world, and he has to throw it away. Again, the secondary of the Houston Oilers, simply outstanding. They took everything away.
I think that Houston arguably is playing the best defense of the first 3 games. I know they shut out Kansas City last week, but that was minus Joe Montana. The combination of the crowd, the terrible field position, as poorly as Warren Moon is playing, the defense for the Houston Oilers is playing some outstanding football.
They're keeping him right in the ball game.
I was going to say a major victory here if they force a field goal, but of course,
if they force the field goal, we'll set it up. Third down, it would be.
Right. Big record.
9 consecutive, 9 straight incompletions for Stan Humphries. Third down and goal to go. Speaking of 9s, this is the 9-yard line. Drops this one off, and there's absolutely nothing there. Ronnie Harmon, he may end up losing a yard to the 10, but that sets up the possibility of an NFL record.
And that's a great open field tackle on the part of Marcus Robertson. As dangerous as anybody in the open field coming out of the backfield is Ronnie Harmon, but you're absolutely right. This is Kearney's chance to make history.
He is now tied with Morton Anderson, 25 consecutive field goals. This is to set the new record.
And the crowd's on its feet.
From 28 yards away. Low snap, good hold by John Freeze. It is good.
Absolutely
Freeze
right.
saves the day for Kearney Asada. He's got it. The new record, and the Chargers have a 9-0 lead. And the record-setting John Kearney kicking off for San Diego. And this will be down in the end zone for the touchback by Pat Coleman. Now officially it's 27 yards on the field goal. There's a reason.
You made a good point on that. John Freeze makes the catch and gets it down. Sam Ano's snap is just a little bit short. You'll see this up close here. Look at it. It skips. Freeze with a good catch moves it forward in front of that yard stripe. So you're right. The record will be 27, but I think at this point Kearney could care less. He's the man. 27 yards, 26 consecutive field goals. That's the good news for San Diego. The bad news is the Chargers have yet this season to score a touchdown at home. Right, and also to further that good news, bad news concept, the bad news too is that Houston has played absolutely horribly, and they're only down by 9 points.
Horribly on offense.
Correct.
3 turnovers, 3 field goals by San Diego, but the Oilers' defense has truly been outstanding. And here is the pass to Webster Slaughter, and he goes out chased by Sean Van Horst, and he has 11 yards and a first down.
Defensively, the Chargers have to watch for a letdown here because of the fact that after they get the emotion of the big turnover, get it inside the 10, and really the offense fails to capitalize. You got to figure here that the Chargers, you can see the body language standing around a little bit, have to guard against the fact that now Houston has played so poorly offensively, can now get a drive going. The Chargers have to stop this here or else the momentum could switch.
Atlanta leading San Francisco in the 10-minute ticker. What about the Giants? They win today. That's 3 in a row. Their record is 3-0. Moon drops it off right side. Pass is complete to Lorenzo White. And he has about 8 yards.
I read something that in one of the periodicals about George Young saying that John Elway was already the Giants MVP. And they asked him why, and he says because he afforded us Dan Reeves. And it's looking like a pretty brilliant move right now. Reeves has him undefeated, as you mentioned.
And John Elway is playing exceptional football for the Denver Broncos. They will be at Kansas City tomorrow night in the Monday night game, and that should be an outstanding contest. Here's Jack Pardee. When we talked to him yesterday, he said, you know something? Losing is overrated. And I love it. And he is right. And here's Lorenzo White, and he'll pick up the first down as he goes to the 45, maybe the 47.
It's interesting he'd say that, because I recall one time asking Dan Reeves, I said, tell me about the fun of football. He said, Todd, the fun of football is spelled W-I-N-N-I-N-G. He said, all that other stuff about moral victories and learning and waxing philosophical, he says, forget it.
Warren Moon struggling a bit this afternoon. He has been intercepted twice. He set up a fumble on a missed handoff to Slaughter. He's completed only 6 of 14 for 78 yards. But the Oilers only down by 9. They're right in the middle of the thing. The pass is incomplete. He threw too soon. Slaughter, either he threw too soon or Slaughter looked too late, because they missed completely.
But here's the byproduct of the pressure that they've been putting on Warren Moon. He doesn't feel like he can wait that extra second to let Slaughter get open. There he just guns it across, and as you say, Slaughter hasn't even looked, even though he was wide open. That's what getting pressure on Warren Moon early in the game does to him. Even a veteran quarterback like this, who will turn 37 in November, he has to be cognizant of the fact those people are beating down on him.
Second down and 10. A lot of time remaining in the first half. 8:55 to go in the second period. Moon stands in. Lots of time. Again, dumps it off. This time to Lorenzo White. He's going to come up a yard, maybe 2 shy of the first down. But the Chargers secondary doing the same thing as the Oilers secondary. They're taking everything away from Warren. So he's got to drop it off to Lorenzo White out of the backfield.
And one of the first times, Charlie, that Warren Moon had a lot of time to throw. He had about 6 seconds in the pocket. Up to this point, he's had less than 3. And as you mentioned, getting it to White, boy, he took a shot from Seau, and Kevin Gilbride has to be a little bit frustrated. Finally, he gets the time for Warren to see the field. Nobody's open.
San Diego 46-yard line. That's the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd down and 2. Gibbons is in motion. And the pass is complete for the first down to Slaughter. And he'll go out around the 38-yard line of San Diego. Chased by Sean Van Horst.
That was the out route that they began the drive with. Moon now starting to find a little bit of accuracy here in this drive. Completed, I believe, 5 passes up in this drive, 4 of 5. But that's only their what?
That is their 8th first down. San Diego only has 5. San Diego with 3 field goals, all following turnovers. Houston, they have started as an average on their own 19-yard line. And the Chargers have started on their own 49-yard line. That's the average, and that'll show you what the fumble recovery and the 2 interceptions will do for your offense. Here's a screen. Middle screen, and it was infiltrated by Rayleigh Johnson.
Heads-up play on the part of Rayleigh Johnson in the spy category. As soon as he saw number 44 on the inside screen, he didn't move at all, forcing Warren to throw it away. Watch 99. He comes inside. Look at this. Now he sees 44 turn around, and he happens to be right there. Good job on the part of Johnson to be in the vicinity.
We asked him, do you prefer Ray or do you prefer Rayleigh? And he said, as usual, said, I don't care. And we said, well, what does your mother call you? He said, well, my mother calls me Ray, except when she's mad. And then she says, Rayleigh, you get in here. We said, okay, we'll call you Rayleigh. 2nd and 10. The pass is complete. It's a little on the low side, and Ernest Gibbons has to go down to make the play, and Sean Van Horst is there to cover him for the Chargers.
Let me tell you what a fan I am of Ernest Gibbons. He has only missed 2 games due to injury. This is a man who's 5'9" and 172 pounds, and a number of times he's gone across the middle and just taken some unbelievable shots and continues to get up. He really impresses me with his courage.
He, by the way, is the best friend, and put that in quotes, best friend of Sean Jefferson of the Chargers, who has been struggling. And they talk on the phone every day throughout the season. And he's really been encouraging to Sean. Not today, but the rest of the season. Pass is there.
What a great throw.
And it is Curtis Duncan, who sometimes is the other receiver of the 4.
What a great throw. Look at the rib pads now that Curtis Duncan has on. If we can get back to a shot of number 80, he must have gone out with some sort of abdominal problem, because now he's padded up. Look, so you see the pads right there under the 8 and the 0. Look at this as he comes up the field. What a throw. Right between two defenders. Excellent job on the part of Warren Moon to lay that in there.
And speaking of laying it in there, Curtis Duncan laid it out to pull it in. First down and goal to go. 5-yard line. Here is White. Cuts back. He's to the 2. Junior Seau with the tackle. It'll be second down and goal to go. And now do you stay on the ground here?
Well, I think inside the 5, of course, they have a tight end on the roster, so I'm surprised at this point now at the 2-yard line that they haven't brought in their short yardage offense.
John Henry Mills, but also they use Stan Thomas and Brad Hopkins, their tackles, as tight ends. This is the 11th play of the drive. And the pass is complete for the touchdown to Webster Slaughter. About Webster Slaughter, Warren Moon told us, he said, I'm now beginning to read his body language, and he reads it here for 6 points.
Well, this wasn't too complex. Once again, just the simple out route, man coverage wide open. That's the 3rd time they had done that in this drive. And Warren Moon much more accurate this time around. Cuts underneath. Nice job on the part of Leonard Harris to pick the man. Gets away with it. Touchdown Oilers.
And now the extra point attempt by Al Del Greco to pull within 2 of San Diego with 5:31 left to go in the first half. Greg Montgomery will be holding. And it's right down the middle. So the score, the San Diego Chargers 9, the Houston Oilers 7. Back with a kickoff. Just over 5.5 left to go first half. And the Chargers lead by 2 as Al Del Greco will be kicking off. For Houston, Nate Lewis is the deep back on the return. And this one will be down in the end zone for the touchback, and San Diego has started their own 20-yard line. And now let's take a look at the natural gas quarterback efficiency ratings. Todd?
This is a big surprise to me. At the top, are you kidding me? This man coming into the season, I believe, was 25th on the all-time list. John Elway, look at what the West Coast offense has done for him. And Boomer Esiason, everybody talking about his best days were behind him. He has nearly 700 yards passing in his first 2 games. He is having an outstanding season thus far. 2 participants today in the game, 7th and 10th. But don't forget that on that last drive, Warren Moon started to look like the Warren Moon of old.
80 yards in 11 plays. He completed 7 of 9 passes on the drive for 69 of the 80 yards. And here's Natron Means. And he pops to the outside. And he should get the first down. Darrell Lewis finally makes the tackle at the 30-yard line.
One of the things that Bobby Beathard liked about Natron Means when they drafted him is even though at 5'10", 245, he has a power back. He does have some good feet in the open field. He showed some quickness there after running over the initial tackler, getting the first down.
Natron from North Carolina, the rookie taken in the 2nd round. Had over 1,000 yards rushing in his last 2 years. And has the first down at the 30-yard line for San Diego. And here's Natron to the outside. And he has back-to-back first downs. 10 yards and now 11. Marcus Robertson with the tackle.
The Chargers picked a good time to get a running game going. Charlie, I really think that one of the reasons the Oilers scored on that last drive is that the defense was tired. They need to get a break, and they need to take some time off the clock. Good block there on the part of Walker taking the outside backer, and Natron just cuts upfield or get tackled beyond the stripe for the first down.
Houston offense has been on the field over 15 minutes, and prior to this drive, San Diego's about 9.5. So that means you're right. The Chargers defense had been out. It is a warm afternoon. It is beginning to heat up. This stadium holds the heat well. There's not that much of a breeze here this afternoon, so it can get hot. Here's Means again. This time he kind of slides through. And then he stretches out close to the 44-yard line. Darrell Lewis with the tackle.
He slides through and takes Darrell Lewis with him. That looked like about a 1-yard gain, but because of the quickness of the feet and the power of his lower body, he's able to take Lewis kind of piggyback.
What about those Raiders on the 10-minute ticker? They're shutting out the Cleveland Browns?
Well, none other than the prescient O.J. Simpson informed us that they are back, riding the backs of their defense.
Well, then we know.
They're shutting out the Browns. It's
official, right?
Let's not forget that the Cleveland Browns did play on Monday night. They had to travel across country.
But also, they did play well on Monday night, too, against the 49ers. 2nd down and 8. Humphries throws. It is intercepted. Down the sideline is Darrell Lewis. And he is going to score. And the Oilers have the lead.
Big-time payback for Darrell Lewis after having an interference penalty that set up a score. This is just an awful throw by Humphries. Look at, he's right there. He's a good 4 yards in front of Nate Lewis. Humphries' depth perception or whatever from the pocket just did not enable him to see Lewis, and he's off to the races.
He's off to a race of 48 yards for the touchdown for Darrell Lewis. And with that touchdown, make it officially 47. The Houston Oilers have the lead for the first time in the ballgame. Now out in front, 13-9. Al Del Greco will try to tack on one more point. And suddenly here in the second quarter, the Houston Oilers have taken command of the ballgame. And it is Houston 14 and San Diego 9 with 3:13 left to go in the first half. Back with a kickoff. Speaking engagement with a couple of members of the Ryder Cup, and they are really looking forward to it.
Well, you told me 2 years ago that that was definitely one of the highlights of your broadcast career.
Oh, it's great. Here's the kickoff down in the end zone. Freddie Couples and Chip Beck, the members of the team. And in fact, Chip goes over on the Concord on Sunday night, and Freddie went over. He's already there. He went over to Paris to kind of get acclimated for it. They're really looking forward.
In fact, as I recall, what the situation was that when they turned you down for American Gladiators and hired me, then you had to do the Ryder Cup.
No, actually, it was Mike Adamley. They wanted somebody shorter to work with you, so they got Mike Adamley on the American Gladiators. All right, here we go. San Diego down from their own 20-yard line. And we have still a close game here. Absolutely a close game. 14-9. Can you believe it? Now San Diego from the 20-yard line. And Humphries comes out throwing. And he's got time. And he scrambles and he wants to drop it off. And then he just goes to the 25. But again, give credit to that Oilers secondary. They're taking everything away from it.
Well, when we asked Buddy Ryan to contrast the Oiler defense with the 85 Bear defense, he said in the front seven, you know, they might have had a little bit better front four here at Houston. The linebackers were better, he felt, with the Chicago Bears. But he said here in the secondary, he likes the corners, Dishman and Lewis, because he said that the corners that he had in Chicago were, in effect, Richardson and Frazier converted safeties. So that enables him to do more things.
And here is Natron Means again, but this time the Oilers are waiting for him. He's going to lose the yard. You can only go to that well so many times, and they're sitting to ambush Sean Jones and Wilber Marshall. When we talked to Sean yesterday, you asked him about playing in the 46 defense. He says he plays more tackle than end. He doesn't like it as much as everybody else.
No, even though he's 6'7" and 280, he doesn't like getting beat up inside because he's more comfortable with defensive end. And as we get down to the 2-minute warning, I too have to question the validity of that particular call running at this point.
2-minute warning. Give
That's
it
the 2-minute warning.
Domino's Pizza, the NFL Live halftime report with Mike Ditka and Jim Lampley. So stay with us at halftime, and there they are. And there's Mike with that wild and crazy tie. He's got it on again. He had that on last week when we saw that same shot. And they will have all the scores and highlights of all of the action in the NFL this afternoon. 3rd down and 5. Humphries, who has been rather dry, finally completes the pass and picks up the first down. He started out 3 of 5. And then he hit the dry spell. 1 completion in the next 11. And that one is good.
He pays for this. Sean Jones catches him from the back right at the end of the throw. Ronnie Harmon, Wilber Marshall has him man for man, and that's a mismatch. There's the hit right there at the end of the play, but Harmon able to escape from it. You can see right there at the end, Marshall is still dragging that knee a little bit.
And to give you an idea of how those numbers have paid off, Houston has thrown for 129 yards. Humphries has thrown, as you see here, for 55. Gets the side on this one around the pressure of good play. He goes to the H-back, Derek Walker. A nice ad-lib for 11 yards by Stan Humphries.
Well, a good job on the part of Walker by seeing the blitz coming, and he knows that Humphrey doesn't have any time. Watch right of your screen, coming completely untouched. He gets it out to Walker, where McDowell, it took him too long to get over in coverage, and that enables Walker to get the first down.
At the San Diego 48-yard line, the 10-minute ticker with a little preview of what Jim Lampley and Mike Ditka will be updating at halftime on the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report. A little play action fake, doesn't fool anybody. And the pass is incomplete. And that's Anthony Miller. What was wrong? I mean, he was wide open. Was he too wide open?
Well, you said that he didn't fool anybody. He may not have, but Miller was wide open.
He really was.
Humphrey wishes he had that one back. Crossing pattern to the left of your screen, you're going to see 83 come across, and he's left alone. How can you leave Anthony Miller alone? He catches this ball. He has one man to mess with in the open field. He's certainly going to get into field goal range at least. Interesting we mentioned Anthony Miller. Nate Lewis, who had 11 catches last week against the Denver Broncos, has yet to catch a ball today.
Second down and 10. Punt fake. Wants to go deep. Speaking of Nate Lewis, he runs into the defender. It's simply not there. Dishman cutting off at the pass.
Again, good coverage on the part of Dishman. Had a little bit of a hook and go pattern on the part of Lewis, but Dishman didn't buy into it at all. Watch Dishman at the bottom of the screen. There's the hook. Now he goes, but Dishman doesn't buy it at all.
And it will be third down and 10 back at the 48-yard line. That's William Fuller, the defensive end. He's hobbling just a bit. Humphreys now only 6 completions of 20 passes. What is that, 30%? And now 6 of 21. Johnny Barnes, the intended receiver, and Darrell Lewis had the coverage. He, of the interception and the touchdown, had put the Oilers on the board.
He has enough time. He goes on what's called the turmoil route, blocking left, kind of a moving pocket. He's got the time. He sets his feet. Tough catch, threw that a little bit high for Barnes. Not a great first half for Humphreys.
Turmoil route?
Yeah, that's the terminology for when they roll left. They cut the defensive end and roll the lineman out to the left, buying a little extra time for him.
Kent Sullivan with the catch. And the fair catch by Willie Drury of the Houston Oilers. 1:23. Time remaining as the pushing contest is now underway. 36 yards on the kick. And Houston with plenty of time. They have 2 timeouts remaining in the first half. And the Chargers have 2 timeouts remaining.
Part of that fight you saw walking on the field, number 48, was John Henry Mills. That is the lone tight end on the Houston roster. That brings up actually an interesting point. He's utilized, of course, in short yardage situations, but the Houston Oilers, I asked Buddy Ryan the difficulty in practicing against, against their offense when they don't have any tight ends, and he said it's very difficult because they can't get used to that. And even though they put linebackers in that position, it's not the same thing.
Not the same thing. And John Henry Mills, another reminder, Jim Lampley, Mike Ditka scores and highlights the Domino Pizza NFL Live halftime report. That's 1 minute and 23 seconds away. Houston now from their own 16-yard line. Chargers show blitz and back out of it. And the give is to Lorenzo White. And he's out to around the 22 or maybe the 23-yard line. Sean Lee makes the tackle.
I would think even with the lead of 14-9, I don't know if Houston's going to be in a big hurry because they've turned the ball over on 3 separate occasions. But I guess if they were just going to run it out, they would have fuddled up, right? So
I think they may, but it's a conservative approach. If they hit somebody and he breaks a big one, then take a timeout, then try to capitalize, but don't take any chances. The protection goes underneath the coverage, and in reality was throwing it away. Warren always knows where everybody is. We asked him about the new rule, when he can get outside of the tackles and then throw the ball away as long as it's at the line of scrimmage or past, and he said it really hasn't had that much effect, except he got away with one.
Well, yeah, I was going to say the funny thing about that, too, is that technically the rule talks about outside the tight end. And, of course,
he's always outside the tight end.
Exactly. Houston doesn't really utilize the tight end, so here's somebody that can take advantage of it. He really thinks, in fact, he had a column a week ago in the USA Today addressing that very point. He doesn't think it's consequential.
He had a middle screen and he threw it in the ground before the line of scrimmage. They got away with it, is what he did. He said, I thought they were going to call it, but they didn't. Knocked down. Good defensive play. And that is Bert Grossman. And there's a sign in the end zone honoring Bert Grossman as, quote, the fastest mouth in the West?
I think he used to have the fastest mouth in the West. I think when he came into the league and had those 10 sacks and ran his mouth and irritated some people, I think he's calmed down considerably and been content to let his play talk for him.
I think you're right.
Although
he's still fun to talk to. He's very quotable.
I was about to say he's hardly an introvert.
Oh, no.
But, not quite as loquacious as he had been in the past.
Greg Montgomery will be kicking.
Wow.
Darian Gordon gives ground all the way back, and then he lets it roll. It's going to go to the end zone. Oh, 77 yards. That's a Red Grange punt.
No, Sammy Baugh. Sammy Baugh holds the all-time record.
No, 77 was the number that Red Grange did. Come on.
After all these years trying to keep track.
Steve O'Neill holds the record.
98.
Yes. And where did he set it?
He set it a mile high.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Well, that's certainly going to help that man's average. He was, remember a couple of years ago, he was referred to as the Maytag repairman because he had so little work with the run and shoot.
That is very true.
Over the last couple of years, as people start to figure out that offense, he's been getting a little more work. 46.9, as you mentioned last year, an AFC record. Very impressive.
Do I hear in the background the call of the Matador with 36 seconds left to go over the trumpets here in San Diego? Chargers from their own 20-yard line. And they're going to stay on the ring. They'll run up the ball. San Diego capitalizing on 3 Houston Oilers turnovers with 3 field goals. And the new NFL record by John Carney of 26 consecutive field goals. They have 9 points. The Houston Oilers with an interception, a touchdown, and then the 80-yard drive. They have 14. As we'll come to the close of the first half. Should be a good second half, too.
Something to think about here for viewers at halftime. They might want to consider that if Stan Humphries comes out and has the kind of first series that he had in the first half, you might be thinking about the possibility of John Freeze, the 1991 starter, warming up and coming in.
We might just see that. Coming up, the Domino's Pizza NFL Live halftime report. Oilers 14, Chargers 9. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Lampley with Mike Ditka. We're going to take a few minutes now to get you up to date on what happened in all of the early games in the NFL. 3 teams, all of them NFC teams remaining unbeaten today, all of them winners in 1 o'clock games. But we start in the AFC, where New England mounted a fourth-quarter comeback, failed to catch Seattle, losing 17-14 in the battle of rookie quarterbacks. Meyer, 12 of 16, 116 yards, 1 TD, had to leave the game after getting poked in the eye. Bledsoe, 20 of 43, 235 yards, 1 TD, 2 interceptions. The difference in the game, Mike Ditka, the running of Chris Warren of the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Chris had 157 yards or something, but they used the running game very effectively. The difference in the game was the kid kicks a great field goal, hits the upright. I mean, those things happen, Jim. They could have tied the game, maybe went in overtime and won it. Right now, it doesn't seem like Bill's catching too many breaks up there. This is a young football team. They need to get a win under their belt to give them a little confidence, and hopefully it'll come soon.
Good point. Sisson's 54-yard field goal that would have tied it in the closing seconds hit the crossbar. The exact numbers on Warren, 35 carries, 174 yards. Thrilling game in Veterans Stadium where the Philadelphia Eagles were looking for their 11th consecutive win at home. They come from behind in the closing seconds to beat the Redskins 34-31 on the 3rd touchdown pass of the day from Randall Cunningham to Calvin Williams. Williams, 8 catches, 181 yards, 3 TDs. Randall, 25 of 39, 360, 3 TDs. Some say, Mike, Randall's too good never to go to the Super Bowl in his career, but few thought that this would have been the year.
Well, you know, the Eagles made a decision to do what they did. They let a lot of people go. And what Mr. Brayman's doing, I think, if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it. Now, they're way under the salary cap. They can go out and sign some players, whatever they need next year. But I think they got a team that's playing together. They got a good chemistry with that football team right now. I think Randall's better, Jim, because he doesn't have somebody looking over his shoulder. You know, if he does bad, maybe this guy's going to come in, or this guy sitting on the bench thinks he should be playing. Randall's playing. He's got the job. He's going to do the job. Rich Kotite does an outstanding job.
You mean Jim McMahon could have caused problems for Randall, Mike?
Well, I just think he was looking over his shoulder some. I'm not saying Jim caused him any problem. Well, he might have.
Incidentally, fill-in quarterback Kerry Conklin of the Skins threw for 3 TDs, but 2 interceptions hurt. Detroit at New Orleans, and New Orleans goes to 3-0 as the Saints beat the Lions in the Battle of Unbeatens 14-3. 2 touchdown passes for Wade Wilson. Derek Brown, 25 for 121 yards, and 3 sacks for Ronaldo Turnbull of the Saints defense.
Well, I think him coming alive, Ricky Jackson played a great game, but Turnbull really put the pressure on him. Jackson recovered 2 fumbles in the football game. And although the Saints didn't have the offense, this week that they've had in the last couple. I think Detroit's got a pretty good defense, so I think they did a good job. But their defense came through. The Saints finally started playing defense like they played last year. I mean, they held them to 3 points. That's a pretty good offense Detroit has with Barry Sanders in there. So the Saints, they're going to be awfully tough to beat. You know, I didn't give them that much credit early in the year, but Jim Moore has done a great job, and they're going to be awfully tough to beat.
All right, in the other two early games, the New York Giants won 20-10 over the Rams in the Meadowlands. Rodney Hampton, 41 carries for 134 yards. Pittsburgh beat Cincinnati 34-7 in Three Rivers Stadium. NFL Live halftime continues. Stay with us.
Second all-time to Fran Tarkenton. And you're right, it was a touching moment, and boy, did the crowd explode.
Yes.
They refer to him as the pilot of Air Coryell, a very apt moniker for this man. 17 seasons in the National Football League, now a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Chargers Hall of Fame was created.
And also at halftime, the San Diego Chargers Hall of Fame, he was inducted along with his great receiver, Charlie Joyner.
Charlie Joyner, 750 career catches. Somebody else who I think that more than likely is going to be enshrined in Canton when his time comes, maybe second or third ballot.
I know that Dan Fouts wants him inducted. He always brings it up. All right, we're ready to start the second half, and here is the kickoff. And Nate Lewis for the Chargers on the return. And San Diego is going to, well, if he ever does stop running, at the 33-yard, that's a pretty strong return for Nate Lewis. And now let's look at the official halftime statistics.
Now, the turnovers seem to be an issue, but then again, really, the Oilers have been able to overcome those turnovers by playing some outstanding defense. Normally, you don't think of turning the ball over 3 times and having them end up in field goals is a real accomplishment, but it has been for the Oilers, and that's the reason they're up 5.
3 turnovers, 3 field goals, 9 points. 1 turnover, touchdown on the interception, 7 points.
Yeah, and really, the Oilers have only had 1 drive this entire game, and that's the one that turned into the touchdown. Hence the reason they're up 14-9.
So San Diego goes to work from their own 33-yard line, trailing in the ballgame. They're down by 5 points. The pass far side is Anthony Miller. He's got it. And he's in, 5, maybe 6 yards on the reception.
Good call on the part of Jack Riley and Bobby Rosser. Get a short pass early. Get Humphreys to get a little confidence here. 6-21 in the first half. Make something a little bit secure. Give him the idea that he can complete some passes, get some confidence, because they have to have him here in the second half to do better than they did in the
And you
first.
mentioned the fact that we might see John Freeze. I thought about that during the halftime if he continues having a poor afternoon. I don't think Bobby Ross will do that. I think he has decided this is the man. Freeze is the backup. He's going to stay with him unless he's injured. Just a fact. Add that into the mix. As you add in Marion Buck. Where has he been? That's the best run that he's had in the last 3 weeks. Picks up 12.
Well, he certainly hasn't been, he has been on the missing persons list in terms of getting the ball upfield, but let's give some credit there to the offensive line. Gaping hole. Able both Lewis and McDowell to tackle him in the secondary. 12-yard gain for Butts. Now that average per carry jumps to a little over 4.
And the ball at the Houston 48-yard line. This is the opening drive of the second half. Three-step drop pass is incomplete. In and out of the arms of Anthony Miller. Did Wilbur Marshall get a piece of it?
I don't think so. I think that's just one of those cases where he tried to catch it in his chest, hit the pads, and ricochet. Watch where the hands try to cradle the ball. Look where it hits him right in the numbers before his hands get up. Pow! Hits him right on the pad. His hands couldn't cradle the ball. And as we mentioned earlier, as bad a day as Humphreys is having, he can't afford those drives.
He was looking downfield, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, he wanted.
He didn't look as if he was watching the ball all the way.
That's what fast guys do. That's why I didn't drop that.
Let's wait till it gets to this other side of the game. Here's the pressure. The blitz is coming. And the pass to Ronnie Harmon is incomplete.
You saw the gesticulations on the part of Humphreys. Not very happy with Ronnie Harmon. He thought he was going to head over a little bit more. There he is. He's saying, come on, come on. Watch Ronnie Harmon at the end of this. Humphreys has a guy in his face blitzing. Come on, make a move. Move in there. You know you're going to get hit anyway. Look at the reaction. Come on, Ronnie.
Part of that is frustration because he's not having a good day.
That's true.
I mean, you can't put it all on the receiver because Stan's simply not having a good day.
But you could clearly tell by the body language of Harmon he wasn't where he was supposed to be.
7 of 24. The completion record. Stan Humphreys. Goal of 73 yards. Chip. Incomplete. Michael Barrow, the rookie from Miami, got a piece of it. Anthony Miller, the intended receiver. Kid looks good.
Well, there was a man, you recall last year, Charlie, if you follow college football, inside backer for the Miami Hurricane, made some great plays. Once again, he gets up in the air, gets a piece of this. Otherwise, it would have been a completion. There's Miller wide open in the middle.
So Kent Sullivan will be kicking. And Willie Drury is the return man. So Kent. The catch is taken at the 11-yard line. So Kent Sullivan replacing the injured John Kidd, 37 yards on the kick. He's having a good afternoon. We'll be back.
Brought to you by American Honda, who has been making quality cars in America for the past 10 years. By the American Express card. Don't leave home without it. By Head & Shoulders and Head & Shoulders 2-in-1, because great hair can't have flakes. And by Coors Light. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
Houston has the ball, and they have the lead, 14-9. With just over 13 minutes left to go in the third, and the Oilers now from their own 12-yard line, first down. Bruno swing right side, pass is complete to Given, and he is pulled down by Sean Van Horst and Darian Gordon.
Houston Oilers are loaded with quality players. You can see nearly half of their roster either first or second round picks. Hence the reason why the expectations that we mentioned at the top of the broadcast. All of these top draft picks, and they keep waiting for them to get to the big dance, as we mentioned earlier. 6 straight years to the playoffs. But Houston Oilers, along, Charlie, with the San Diego Chargers, 2 teams that have never been to the Super Bowl.
Here's Lorenzo White. And a 2nd and 5, and he is going to be shut down. A couple of yards shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
In fact, something that you would appreciate, Charlie, the last time either of these teams won a championship was back in the AFL days. 63, I believe, for the Chargers and 61 for the Houston Oilers.
In fact, the Oilers won in 60 and 61. Boy, that has been a
But I meant the last time. Yeah.
Last time. No, that's right. But I just remember that they won the first 2 years.
As they say at your house, it's a long time between drinks.
That sucker is stale by now. Talk about blank.
Talk about aging the line.
3rd down and short. And a quarterback sneak by Warren Moon. He'll pick up the first down. He just needed a yard, and he got it. Junior Seau covers him. Now, on the year, Warren Moon has been hitting 64% of his passes. In this ball game, 12 of 23. And he was off to a slow start.
Watch at the end of the play, Junior Seau. Boy, does he wrestle him down and makes him pay for that extra yard and a half. Look at the elbow in the face. I don't care if you are turning 37 in November. We still play this game hard.
That's right. And we all hurt tomorrow morning, right? It's a first down, Houston, at their own 23-yard line. Warren taking a lot of time to play action fake. Is in trouble, and he is fouled. And Leslie O'Neal got him.
Give some credit to Kevin Donnelly. He shut out Leslie O'Neal in the first half. But I guess it's a little much to ask throughout the whole game. Watch number 91. He is not fooled by the play fake at all. You just can't leave Leslie O'Neal alone like you can some defensive linemen under the assumption that he's not going to catch you. This is a man that when he came out was a 4.58 sprinter. And even though he's had reconstructed knee surgery, he can still run 4.6, 4.7.
Loss of 9. 2nd and 19. And now the crowd getting back into it here in San Diego. Moon underneath the coverage, pass is incomplete at the 24-yard line. He was going to Haywood Jeffries, and Marquez Pope was there.
And if Marquez Pope is not going for the hit, he gets the interception. That's the decision defensive back always has to make. Is he going to go for the big hit here, or is he going to wait for the ball to pop up? If he waits for the ball to pop up right there, he's got the pick.
Yeah, but now remember, Marquez has 2 interceptions this year, and he has his 4th fumble in the ball game last week. He's been playing excellent defense.
He's been, getting some big plays. In fact, that interception that he had against the Broncos almost turned the game around for him.
3rd and 19. There's pressure on Moon. He is sacked again. He set himself. His foot slid out from under him, and Bert Grossman was right there.
Charlie, what's surprising about that is because it's 3rd and long, you knew that they're going to put their 7 guys back in coverage. They go, look at this. They only go with a 4-man rush. But Grossman gets right past David Williams. Warren Moon didn't have a chance.
They lose another 9 on the sack, and Darian Gordon is set up to return the punt of Greg Montgomery. That's the sign that I alluded to earlier on Bert Grossman. Good.
Well, what a weapon that is.
Well, yeah. 35-yard line. 5 yards on the return. 10 yards on it. 15 flags are down. 20. 25 yards on the return. With those kind of flags, that means they'll bring it back.
Alfred Papuno absolutely clipped Michael Barrow, and that's unfortunate for the Chargers because they would have had decent field position. But let's come back to Montgomery. What a weapon it is when you have a man that can come in there and punch you out of difficulty. 59-yard punt.
Officially 61. They added a couple at the end.
And
he was punting from the back edge of the end zone.
And the last one was 77.
Yeah.
Man, that's something. Unfortunately for the Chargers, just when they had a little bit of momentum.
Illegal block in the back by the receiving team during the return. Number 50. 10-yard penalty. Receiving team will keep the ball after enforcement of the foul. First down.
They called it on Gary Plummer, but it could have been Papuno. Both guys hit people in the back.
And Plummer probably most frustrated of all the Chargers. He doesn't play that much on defense against the run and shoot.
This turns out to be a 35-yard penalty. Catches the ball and heads upfield. They call it on Plummer here, but watch the right of your screen. Right at the top, number 86 just hammers Barrow.
Correction on the last foul. The penalty was on number 86.
Thank you.
And the officials corrected the PA system.
Thank you, Ed Hockey. I appreciate it.
And Alfred Papuno, number 86. San Diego now from their own 37-yard line, trailing in the ballgame. And Marion Butts is back in as the running back, and he's got about 3 on the play as Fuller makes the tackle.
Now, you could question the play calling earlier. You recall last series, Charlie, they threw 5 times. 3 of them were incompletions. The one time they ran the ball to Marion Butts, he had a 12-yard gain. So it might be the idea here to say, look, we're only down by 5 points. Let's see if we can bang some people inside and get a running game established. Got plenty of time.
Checking out the 10-minute ticker. Raiders still shutting out Cleveland just north of here. And here the score, Houston 14 and San Diego 9. With just under 9.5 left to go in the third. And here is Butts again. So the Chargers, you remember on their last drive, they had 1 running play. They picked up, 12 yards on that. And now they come back to try it again. Lynn Montgomery and Al Smith
Well, again, this
making the last tackle. But now Ronnie Harmon comes in along with Sean Jefferson. Third down, they'll be throwing.
not only does it beat up the defensive line a little bit, but it takes some pressure off of Humphreys, who, as we mentioned ad nauseum up to this point, not having a real good game.
Third down and 4. The Chargers at their own 43-yard line. This has been an excellent defensive football, both for Houston and for San Diego.
A lot of great defensive plays.
And we've got flags and some extra pushing and shoving. And Eric Moten, who has his 3rd start at left tackle, number 77, he came rolling into the backfield.
Interesting, Charlie, that clip was the first penalty the Chargers had all day.
All day.
This goes against.
That's remarkable.
This would only be their 2nd.
If it is a false start. And we suspect it.
False start by the offense, number 70, prior to the snap. The defense is warned against coming into the neutral zone. Next time the foul would be on the defense. We'll repeat 3rd down after the 5-yard penalty.
Wait. What do you mean they're warned?
They're warned.
What is that? That's like when you go. That's like when you go 90 miles an hour on the freeway. The guy says, "Oh, I'll give you a warning." And you're like,
you know what
yeah,
it is?
no kidding.
No, you know what
Please put 2 seconds back on the clock.
you know what it is?
Yeah. It's like getting your wrist slapped in your hand.
Thank you.
That's right.
You already got the
And you
cookie.
never let those
Too
cookies
late.
go.
Exactly right. Come on, a warning.
Better with the cookies in your stomach and they slap your hand. 3rd down and 9. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up the middle. Humphreys goes long his man coverage, and he throws it the wrong way. Ronnie Harmon was running a post. He was going to the corner. There was a misread on one or the other.
Well, it's Anthony Miller, Charlie.
Anthony Miller, 83.
Down the middle of the field. And as you mentioned, the Chargers did an outstanding job in picking up the blitz. But that, again, just an awful throw.
What happened?
Take a look in the middle. Here they have it. Everybody's picked up. He's got the time. Just airs it out down the middle, and there he is. But look at this, completely
Anthony
overthrown.
was already into the post pattern, and so Stan just Boy, that's way off. Jeff Sullivan will be kicking, and Drury is the return man. Another pretty good kick, a little low. Fair catch is called for us at 26. Low kick usually sets up a quick return. This time there was a fair catch. 36 yards on the punt. I stand corrected. John Freeze is loosening up for the San Diego Chargers. Stan Humphries having an awful afternoon.
Well, 7 for 26, you certainly have to consider it. And, you know, I don't think it's a matter of, I don't think Humphries can take it personally. He's just not playing well.
Here's Lorenzo White, and he's got a couple of yards. The Chargers and the Oilers. Junior Seau again for San Diego.
Well,
They have really played the run well, their defenses.
and he's one of the first-round picks that they have had. They've done an outstanding job of drafting over the last couple of years. Take a look at the first-round picks for the San Diego Chargers since 1986. Leslie O'Neal there at 86. Look at all the only man who's not there, and of course that's Rod Bernstein, who's now free agent acquisition of the Denver Broncos. Miller, Grossman, Sale, Richard Mims, Gordon, all major contributors. Says a lot for the front office of the Chargers.
Lorenzo White, 32 yards rushing and 10 carries. And the pass is behind. It is airborne. Wow. Is it intercepted or is it incomplete?
No.
It's incomplete.
It hit the ground. What an amazing play on the part of Gordon to have the feel for the
Darian
ball.
Gordon and Curtis Duncan were both trying to pull it in.
At the end of the play, he does the 360 to come up with it. Duncan open here on the in route, gets the ball. Now watch the 360, sees the ball there. Looks, spin, almost. Oh, he almost came up with that. Great field presence on the part of Gordon. That would have been some catch.
And notice how nice the shoes of Gordon look.
And it's interesting to make this point, too, as we just showed the graphic. That's the latest in the first-round picks for the Chargers, making a contribution.
And limping off is Curtis Duncan.
But we mentioned earlier, you could see there between the 8 and the 0 that he had the rib pads. Now, in the midst of the tangle of legs with Gordon, it looks like he might have sprained either a knee or an ankle.
We mentioned the shoes of Darian Gordon. Remember, he's got those funky practice shoes that he paints up, and the paint chips off of it. They're terrible. But he's very proud of it. 3rd and 9. And that is going to be a false start on the left guard. Got to be on Eric Norgaard.
Replacing Mike Munchak, as we mentioned at the beginning. He just got confused. A lot of different shakes, a lot of different movement.
False start by the offense, number 64, prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. It remains 3rd down.
Third down and 14. The ball at the Houston 22-yard line. 7:47 as time is flying this afternoon.
I was surprised, Charlie, that they're even up in a blitz. But third and long like that.
Now they show the 4-man rush, and only 4 are coming. And here's the screen right side. It is to White. Nice move in the open field, but he had to pick up too much yardage. He got about 8 yards on the play. Stanley Richard and Darian Gordon on the tackle. It will be 4th down, and Greg Montgomery will be kicking.
And I'm surprised here. This is really a pivotal series, and the crowd isn't more into this. You know, earlier in the game, they were much more vocal. That was a great stand by the Charger defense there to force 3 and kick, but they're not quite back in the game like they were earlier.
Darian Gordon, the return man. Greg Montgomery's last 2 punts, 77 and 61 yards. And Gordon takes this one at the 17-yard line. A little hip hop of the 20, and he is dead at the 21. 51 yards on that kick. Back in a moment. These are the numbers on Stan Humphries. Remember this, 7 of 26. He has been replaced at quarterback by John Freeze. Those numbers really not indicative of the poor afternoon that he has had. Little play action fake. And Freeze opens up, goes deep to Lewis, who is there, has to wait on it, and he makes the play. 32-yard line of Houston.
And the first catch of the day for Nate Lewis, and how much bigger could it have been? 47-yard bomb from the second-string quarterback who comes in to light a fire under this Charger defense. I thought Dishman must have assumed that he had help to the inside, but Bubba McDowell instead heads up, and now Marcus Robertson has to come from the other side of the field. That was a miscommunication on the part of Dishman and McDowell that enabled the Chargers to get that big play.
And the ball at the Houston 31-yard line. First down. Stan Humphries completed only 4 of his last 21 attempts in the ballgame. 4 of his last 21. And Freeze has replaced him. And we've got a timeout.
San Diego. That's their first charge. Timeout.
6:13 left to go in the third. Well, welcome to live television. We didn't go away. We thought we were all going to a commercial. But meanwhile, we will watch John Freeze drink a little Gatorade. All right. On NBC NFL football, our lineup next Sunday, Miami against Buffalo, and Todd and I will be in Cincinnati for the Seattle-Cincinnati game. That's a 4 o'clock start Eastern time.
Get a chance to see the young quarterback up close. And Rick Meyer led them to victory today for their first of the 93 season. They had pretty good numbers. I think I saw 14 of 18 or something like that.
Miami-Buffalo, that's going to be a very tough matchup. Good ball game. And most of the country to see that one.
Speaking of young quarterbacks, gee, I know they might have been in the wrong formation, but run the play anyway. You got a little momentum going.
Oh, yeah.
Don't call the timeout after a 47-yard pass. I mean, even if the play is only like a 3 or 4 yard gain, do it anyway, man. Give it a shot.
First half, the Chargers with just over 100 yards in total offense. They got 47 yards on that last play. And here's another play action play. And he looks deep. And he comes back to the middle, and then he throws it away. He looked first to Sean Jefferson. He wanted somebody deep, and then he came back to the middle, and then he read short, and everybody was covered.
Now, this is an interesting phenomenon. Now, both times that he's gone back to pass, he has had outstanding protection. I'm surprised, too, that Buddy Ryan didn't just decide, hey, this guy's cold. Yeah, we're going to send him a kitchen sink.
So it is 2nd and 10 at the 31. A bruised foot, the report on Curtis Duncan. Questionable that he can return into that other offense. 2nd down and good. And here's Natron Means. The flag is down. Natron is going to figure about 9. If it stands, I don't think it will.
Dwayne Young cut up field too soon. You know, there's really no excuse for that, because when the play is between the guards as it is, why Dwayne Young has to get upfield is inconsequential. But now, as a result, instead of being close to a first down, they're going to come up now 2nd and 15. There's the reaction you can see right there. You know, it's like clipping behind the runner when he's about to score a touchdown. There's no reason for Young to be upfield quickly.
7, moving forward at the snap. 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
On Dwayne Young. Just over 6 minutes left to go in the third. Houston 14, the Chargers 9. The margin is 5. An outstanding defensive ball game.
A lot of big plays.
Ooh, yeah.
Interceptions, big hits, batted balls.
And both offenses have sputtered at times.
Serious pass rush from both sides.
Yeah.
Great front four in both teams.
2nd down and long. Freeze has protection, fires, and this is incomplete. Here comes the flag. 24 yards in the air. That's the distance of the flag.
And that's interesting. Al Smith is complaining to the official that he thinks it should be against the tight end. He's saying, what?
Derek Walker, the intended receiver. He is number 89.
This is one of the few things that I do know a little bit about. And that's the collision of the tight end and the linebacker downfield.
Pass interference by the defense, number 54. Automatic first down.
He's not very happy about it. Watch the middle of the field. There's a clip right at the top. You can see 54 holding on to it. Al Smith.
Oh, wait, they're holding on each other.
What's he beefing about here? No, that should have been defensive holding. He just had a bear hug of the tight end. Pro Bowler the last 2 years, but now at the coming out of Michael Barrow, Al Smith comes out on passing downs.
I think he's complaining I was being held also.
I don't think so.
There's a little wrestling match.
Not when you're trying to catch the ball.
First down at the 27-yard line. And here is Means to the 25.
Al Smith took it out on Means, making the tackle there in the middle of the pile.
Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down and 8. Again, the Oilers up by 5 with a lot of time remaining this afternoon. Both ball clubs coming into the game with identical records of 1-1. They both thought they should be 2-0 coming into the ball game. And Freeze presses to the backside, gets it away. It'll be a first down. Oh, and he takes the hit. 14 yards as he goes to Johnny Barnes.
I'm impressed, Charlie, with the poise of John Freeze. Here comes the linebacker blitz right there. Eddie Robinson completely untouched right in his face, not from his backside. Freeze sits in there, able to get the ball to Barnes over the middle with nobody in coverage. Outstanding job of composure on the part of John Freeze.
Freeze now 2 of 3 for 61 yards. And it's a first down at the Houston 11. Natron Means, and he goes to the 9. He has a couple of his second down, N.A. Bubba McDowell makes the tackle.
I would have liked a play-action play on first down.
Tackle number 25.
Just confuse them. I would look for here. A great play for the Chargers would be the fake bootleg, where it looks like they're going to go run right with the counter, then come back left. Freeze, not known as a real mobile quarterback. That'd be something we work down here inside the 20.
Alfred Capunu checks into that offensive set. Sean Jefferson comes out. Play action fake. Pressure. Slips away. Passes incomplete at the 5. Natron Means dropped it. Freeze with a great scramble. He got away from William Fuller and company.
I mentioned the fact that Freeze at about 6'4", 210, not a really great scrambler. Pocket passer. Fuller comes in from the outside, gets bumped by Means, has the hands on him, but Freeze is able to escape. Now Means, if he can come up with his ball, has a shot to cut inside. Oh, it just goes right through his hands.
How did he do it? Yeah. Third down and 8 at the 9. Freeze in zone.
The official right on top of it. Right on top of it, said he didn't get both feet down. Just ran out of end zone. That was really a nice throw on the part of Freeze. Lewis not able to get his feet in. Take a look at the feet there. Take a look at the feet by Nate Lewis. Here's the catch. There's one foot down. Where's the left foot?
No.
Excellent call by the official right on
If
top.
he drags it, or as they say, dots the I, he's got the touchdown, but he doesn't.
But he didn't.
And Carney will try to add 3 more. From 27 yards away. And it is go. And the score is 14-12. Houston leads. Houston now leads by 2. San Diego has yet to score a touchdown at home this year, but NBC has certainly scored a touchdown with Sequest. Did you see the ratings? Second.
Terrific.
Second.
Awesome.
Oh, yes. Great show. Tonight, Eyewitness Video, Sequest, and Quigley Down Under, starring my good friend Tom Selleck. We did a movie today once, before he was a big-time star.
You and Tom Selleck?
Tom Selleck, yes. The Superdome Murders. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, boy, that's right up there with My Mother the Car.
Oh, yeah, it's
a real biggie.
It's in the same genre. Last time I saw Tom Selleck, he said, you know, they keep rerunning it. I said, I love it. I get $3 every time they do it. He said, I'm embarrassed by it. And here is the kickoff. And Drury on the return. And he's out to the 20. Nice little move at the 18. Picks up 3 or 4 more. And they'll give him the 21st or the 22nd yard. Let's see what yard line they put it on. Carrington and Davis make the tackle. And we have the report that Curtis Duncan will not be returning as one of their 4 wide receivers, so Leonard Harris will replace him, and Duncan has 3 receptions for 54 yards in the ballgame.
Well, if there's one place where the Houston Oilers have depth, it is a wide receiver.
Yep.
They carry 8 on the roster.
The Oilers lead it by 2, 14-12, with 3:22. That is the time remaining. We're in the 3rd quarter in this defensive battle here at San Diego Jack Murphy Stadium. And Warren Moon drops the pass off to Jeffries underneath the coverage, so he goes to the 28-yard line. He'll pick up about 6 on the play. But I think, you know, we have mentioned it several times, but we have to give accolades to the secondary of the Chargers and to the secondary of the Oilers. Their coverage has really been outstanding. There is Leonard Harris. He's replacing Curtis Duncan. as one of the 4 wide receivers in what has become the shoot and shoot, because the run has been taken away from the Oilers in this ballgame. And Warren Moon has pressure, and he is sacked. Third time that he's been sacked in the ballgame. Sean Lee is the man who got it.
You mentioned again the secondary. That was the key there. You know, heading into this game, Charlie, the San Diego Chargers have been giving up like a 73% completion ratio to their opponents, but you can see Moon has plenty of time. He just can't find anybody, and Sean Lee's able to run down Moon from behind. Much maligned secondary for the Chargers is this, as Lestar really risen to the occasion.
They certainly have. And don't overlook what Buddy Ryan has done with the defense of the Oilers. They have truly been outstanding. And it's 3rd down and 4. Oilers up by 2. It is complete at the 45-yard line to Ernest Gibbons, a gain of 17, and the first down as the Oilers convert on 3rd down.
That's a big catch by Givens for a lot of reasons. When Curtis Duncan went out, they moved Givens to the outside. He's now in Duncan's spot, and Leonard Harris has taken his. There he has to lay out and come up with a grab. Nice throw by Moon. Big catch by Givens for the first down.
And for Ernest, that is his 4th reception for 34 yards. Houston at their own 45-yard line, minute 33 and counting. That is the time remaining. Low numbers for Warren Moon. We're in the 3rd quarter. There's pressure, and the pass is incomplete. Slaughter, the intended receiver, Van Horst picked him up, but again, it was the rush of the Charger defensive line that forced Moon to get rid of it before he wanted to. And as you see, number 91, that is Leslie O'Neal. He is playing this game through rose-colored visor. So everything is coming up roses for Leslie. He had a big article in the San Diego paper on him this past week. Very modestly, he was quoted.
I had an interesting conversation with him yesterday regarding as to whether or not now with the new money if he's still hungry, and he said absolutely.
Oh, he's always hungry. He's a great guy. Very quotable, but he's always involved. Pass is complete at the 40-yard line of San Diego, maybe the 39 for Leonard Harris. 16 yards on the play, and now Warren Moon is working on all cylinders. Darren Carrington with the tackle, and he's firing that ball. Give him a little time, and he'll cut you to pieces.
Well, they caught him in a 4-man rush, a little bit of a zone defense there. He just finds the crease. Nice throw by Moon. Jamie Museo lays out, but can't quite come up with it.
Couldn't quite get back to it. Spotted at the 39-yard line of San Diego. Moon now 16 of 31 as you look at Curtis Duncan, who is injured on the sideline and not involved in this drive. Moon, a little timing pass. It is juggled and almost picked on. Jeffries couldn't come down with Donald Frank. Oh, stole it away from him. It's incomplete.
Terry Bradshaw and John Stallworth popularized that play a couple of years ago. All it is he just stops and he throws it for a jump ball, and Haywood Jeffries nearly 6'3", and Frank at about 5'10". The whole idea is to take advantage of his height, but look what Frank does there with the left arm right in the middle of his arms and strips the ball. Good
and
play.
Who originally popularized that play as the alley-oop?
I know that.
I knew you would.
Y.A. Tittle, R.C. Owens.
Caesar Stadium. Second down. 38 seconds left. 3rd quarter. Oilers on the move. Warren wanted to go deep and had to come back. He looked deep, he looked middle, and he came back underneath. It is still incomplete.
He's got to be frustrated. Every time he gets the time to throw, the coverage is great. You can see a little frustration on his face right there as he's screaming to his receivers to get open.
They're screaming back. We're trying.
Yeah, exactly.
Check the 10-minute ticker of the games that started or that finished earlier today, and also the other games that are underway late this afternoon. It is absolutely gorgeous here in San Diego. The temperature now in the 70s, not a cloud in the sky. Perfect afternoon for football. Moon goes deep, and this one is picked out. He forced it into double coverage.
Really did.
John Van Horst with the interception. That is the 4th Houston turnover.
See him limping off. I think he's going to be all right. He landed a little bit awkwardly, but Charlie, you called it exactly right. At 3rd and long, Warren Moon had the time. He's in love with his arm. He just tried a little bit too hard to force this ball in here. Van Horst running with him underneath. This is something easily Warren could have seen. He threw the ball right to Van Horst for the pick. Not overly emotional is Warren Moon, but you can see the body was trying to get it in there, but he knows right there, hey, that's my fault. That's my fault. I tried to force it in there. I cost us a turnover.
And you notice in that shot that he carries on his wrist, that's the play selection that he has. A lot of quarterbacks do that, of course. It becomes so complicated, it's hard to keep all those numbers and formations and positions and people in your mind. Here is San Diego from their own 12. Freeze opens up a little play action. He wants to go deep. He comes back underneath. And the pass is complete to Marion Butts, and Bubba McDowell makes the tackle.
Bubba McDowell makes the hog tie. That's a big body. One of the things they tell you is you just can't take Marion Butts high, but that's not what McDowell was thinking about.
But also, Marion Butts is beginning to show very good hands coming out of the backfield.
That's exactly right.
As we show the countdown to the end of the third quarter. So we have 3 in the books. We have 15 minutes remaining, and the Oilers have the lead. Back after these messages from your local station.
The third quarter.
We start the fourth quarter with Houston out in front by a score of 14-12 over San Diego. For San Diego, they now try to capitalize on the 4th turnover of the Oilers. They scored on the 3 previous turnovers, but they started at the Houston 44 to San Diego 48 and Houston 9. This time it's a longer road to travel. They start at their own 12-yard line with the interception by Van Horst. Freeze has pressure still, drops it out of the backfield of Marion Butts, and he's going to save maybe a yard. That's going to be about it. But again, the Oilers took away everything downfield from him. And it's going to be third down.
Tackle there by Joe Bowden. I don't know if Wilbur Marshall, if maybe he's a little bit fatigued, but now Bowden in the game. Buddy Ryan was telling us that he's been playing some good football. It's number 59 for the Oilers. He's the one that was being replaced by Marshall, but maybe Marshall's knee locked up on him a little bit, a little fatigued, and now Bowden's back in the game.
John Freeze has completed 4 of 7 passes for 63 yards, and there is the man who they all tell us, this is the leader of the defense, Wilbur Marshall. Here's pressure on the blitz, and the pass is incomplete. Nate Lewis way under front. Oh, who was coming? Is that Bubba McDowell on the safety blitz?
Bubba McDowell, it's what's called a jet rip blue slash. The blue slash is the strong safety who comes inside the linebacker. Here he comes completely untouched, and as I mentioned earlier, I'm surprised they hadn't been doing that sooner because Freeze certainly isn't used to that kind of pass rush coming cold from the bench.
Jet rip blue slash.
Jet rip blue slash.
And that was the blue of John Freeze that got slashed, wasn't it? Okay, Ken Sullivan to kick, and Drury is the return. And here comes everybody, and he barely gets it off. Somebody may have had a piece of it. And we've got a flag. And it's going to take a bit of a San Diego roll to the Houston 41-yard line. A flag at the 5-yard line. 44 yards on the game. The Oilers hit everybody except the return man.
Now, when you take a look at this, the argument is the running into the kicker, roughing the kicker, or giving him enough room to step down, because as best as I could see, nobody actually hit the kicker. He tripped over somebody. Hopefully on the replay we can get a chance to see that.
And the other thing, of course, is that if the Oilers got a piece of the ball,
well, either way,
then you can go into it.
Running into the kicker by the defense, number 25, was not an automatic first down penalty, 5 yards only. The penalty is declined, first down.
As you run into him, as you step over him, there's number 25 laying down. It's enough of a collision, though, to justify the flag.
We'll be back.
BC is brought to you by Chevrolet, who invites you to see all the new Chevy cars for 1994. By Little Caesars Pizza, where you always get 2 great pizzas for 1 low price. By Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. And by Xerox, the document company. See your documents differently. See your business differently.
Decision by San Diego. They could have had 5 more yards out to the 20 and then kicked again, but from Kent Sullivan, the punter who has replaced the injured John Kidd, they got 44 yards with no return. They settled for it, and here come the Oilers. Webster Slaughter on the receiving end of the Warren Moon pass. Marquez Pope chases him down for San Diego. And here's another look.
Out route by Slaughter, something that's been effective for him earlier in the game. 9-yard gain there. With some big years with the Cleveland Browns.
4th reception of the ball game for Slaughter. 30 yards total. He does have a touchdown.
He's also coming home. Webster Slaughter played his collegiate ball here at San Diego State.
2nd and 1. Here's the first down as Lorenzo White picks it up. You have something for us?
Well, this would be the time where, you know, the Houston Oilers really want to establish themselves. We keep talking about all the talent that they have. 14 Pro Bowlers on this roster. You'll see the names down there and the number of times that they have been there. That's the most of any team in the National Football League. And as we talked at the head of the show, Charlie, about expectations, when you have that many All-Pros on your team, the natural assumption is that this is a team that should be going places.
A high expectation.
Very high, yeah.
The ball at the San Diego 45. Houston up by 2, 14-12. Little pump fake. Warren rolls right. He's looking. And he completes the pass at the 40-yard line to Lorenzo White. He also had positioned himself, if he so desired, to throw the ball away because he was outside of where the tight ends might be if they had tight ends in their particular set, which they don't.
Well, the thing that continues to impress me about Warren Moon is that you look at some of the other quarterbacks in their late 30s, and needless to say, the mobility is not what it once was, but he can still get out there. And he actually last week made a couple of nice runs, so he can still clear the rush and make things happen.
In his career in Canada and in the NFL, including this ball game, he throws for more than 52,000 yards. 52,000 yards.
More than anybody in history.
Yeah. This one, however, is intercepted by Junior Seau. Seau with his 2nd interception of the ball game. And he's to the 35. And he's to the sideline. Woo!
There's some local elections happening in San Diego, and I have a name for mayor. His name's Seau. Take a look at the catch here. Now, watch the running ability of number 55. Athletic ability of one who used to compete in the decathlon. Was 22 points a game in basketball in his senior year at Oceanside High School, showing the speed and mobility and athletic ability of somebody who shouldn't be able to do that at 6'3", 250 pounds.
Mayor? No. T.
Well, that's right. We had a chance to pan in the stands a number of his family members there of Samoan descent.
Oh, yes. Natron Means picks up 4. It'll be 2nd down. For San Diego at home, so far offensively, through 11 quarters plus, it has been Carney or nada.
There's
John Carney with the field goals. Here's his family cheering him on, his Junior Seau family.
a lot of teeth up there, a lot of smiles.
And the nada, of course, being that the Chargers have yet to score a touchdown at home. Natron Means gets a little closer. He goes to the 20-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and short.
And one of the problems that you have when you take for granted the fact that you have an excellent kicker is that you're a lot more conservative in your offensive approach. Yes, it's all well and good for San Diego to establish a running game, but 2 straight plunges into the line under the assumption that Carney is automatic on the dirt infield. I don't think that's wisdom.
3rd down and a long yard. In reality, it's about a yard and a half.
Good chance for a flag pass.
We have a flag on the play. Natron Means is very close to the 1st down, but there's a marker.
Looks like it could be offsides. It didn't appear that anybody moved for San Diego, so there was probably somebody in the neutral zone.
Offsides by the defense, number 96, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
And that is Sean Jones at 6'7", 268 pounds. A very costly penalty.
It really is, because it gives the momentum back to San Diego. You know, they really did stuff them on 2 plays. If they'd have forced them to kick, okay, all well and good. So San Diego goes up 15-14. There's still over 10 minutes left in the game. Now if San Diego were to go in for the touchdown here, then that would be a very, very costly penalty.
First down at the Houston 14. And here is Means, and he falls down. Natron Means falls down. He's going from the skin part, the dirt part of the infield to the grass, and sometimes you just get out of sync when that happens, and you lose your footing. That's what happens.
And that's exactly right. You can see right here, just what you said. He starts out on the infield right around shortstop. He slides into third base, but that's no good in this game. It results in about a 2-yard loss.
Second down and 13.
Again, the age-old argument, Charlie. Are you playing to win or are you playing not to lose? Very conservative here in these last 4 or 5 plays.
San Diego down by 2. Freeze to throw. Goes to the end zone. Lewis Trick falls down. He wants to get a pass interference. You won't get it. They call it incidental contact. That is a good no call by the official.
I agree.
Maybe third down and long.
Again, good coverage on the part of Dishman. The thing that Dishman does very well is he looks back for the ball. And once he looks back for the ball, it looks like he's entitled to the ball as well as Lewis. And they just can't call that. They absolutely can't. Good non-call by the official. And once again, Charlie, we bring up the point that if you recall in the second quarter, a similar situation happened after Seau's interception. The offense didn't do anything. The defense isn't getting the rest. And even if they kick the field goal, that's got to be a concern.
Third down and 13. Freeze with all the time in the world. Throws to the far corner. He wanted it away. Nate Lewis over there. The pass is incomplete. It is fourth down. So I will go back to what we said a moment ago. It is Nada on touchdowns, and Carney will go for the field goal.
Got plenty of time back there. He tries to motion Lewis over, but he didn't get him over in time. And now for the 28th, and again, we mentioned record chance. I mean, it is a record. He continues to further his own. How difficult is this going to be on the infield? That really is right around shortstop for a 36-yard attempt.
And John Freeze, who saves it on the last hole, has the good hole. Here is the kick. It is good. And the Chargers have the lead. San Diego 15, Houston 14. John Carney will be kicking off with that field goal. He has now hit 28 in a row. This year, he has hit 12 of 12. At home, he is 11 of 11. The Chargers still haven't scored a touchdown here in San Diego. And here's Drury on the return. He breaks it across the 35 and then out of bounds near the 40-yard line, and Carney was there to try and stop him. We mentioned it earlier, the Ryder Cup on NBC. 10.5 hours of coverage next weekend, starting Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Time. That's the Ryder Cup next weekend here on NBC.
You know, despite all the mistakes, despite all the errors and all the plays here, this is really a good game.
It is a good ball game.
Good game.
Houston now down by 1, 15-14.
And now it's Cody Carlson.
Cody Carlson has replaced Warren Moon. And his first pass is complete. Let's see where they give him the spot. If they give him the reception and the 50-yard line, he'll have a first down. 11 yards on the play. Donald Frank with the tackle. So I think that Jack Pardee said, hey, if they can do it, we can do it. Let's see if Carlson has the hot hand.
Well, of course, we also know that Cody Carlson has come in numerous times for Moon in the past and won some big games for them. I recall him getting them into the playoffs at the end of the season against the Steelers 2 seasons ago. But again, let's also look from a monetary standpoint. From a monetary standpoint, they just signed him to a new 3-year deal at close to $2.5 million a year. And as a backup quarterback, this is what they're paying him to do, is to come in here and play relief.
And the handoff is to Lorenzo White. He's going to pick up 5 yards to the 45-yard line of San Diego. And the sideline report on Warren is that he's okay. This is just a change to see if they can change the tempo, to see if Carlson has the hot hand. Again, the margin is only 1 point, 15-14, San Diego on top with a lot of time, 8 minutes.
And it also reinforces the point that you made earlier, Charlie, regarding the fact that the defenses are playing so well that they knock the starting quarterbacks out figuratively, not literally, but figuratively, in terms of the fact statistically, they just didn't cut it.
They both go to the bullpen. Carlson throws, passes complete, first down, 29-yard line. Webster Slaughter has it. Junior Seau with the tackle and a gain of 17. Can a quarterback change the tempo of the defense that much? All of a sudden, John Freeze comes in, he's completing passes. Carlson comes in, he's completing passes.
You know, people talk about that, but you know what, really, Charlie, when the guy comes in this situation, both Freeze and Carlson, they come in with nothing to lose. If they come in and miss their first 5 passes, so what? The other guy's stinking it up, too. So he comes in and just rears back and throws. No pressure on him, and he's playing like it.
So he's taking the orders from their own 39 to the San Diego 29-yard line. We're moving on the 7-minute mark, time remaining. Flag is down, pass is incomplete. So we'll check out the flag.
For about the 4th time, the receiver in motion went too soon. That was Slaughter, who headed upfield a little bit too quick. But the Chargers more than likely will let that one go and make him go to second down.
The two head coaches, Jack Pardee of Houston and Bobby Ross of San Diego. Two teams meeting this afternoon. Outstanding defenses, both figuring to make the playoffs.
I was just thinking, I just had a funny thought, and that is, you know how you play those high-scoring games? I'll let the official tell us. Let Ed tell us what's going on here.
Illegal motion by the offense, number 89, moving forward at the snap. The penalty is declined, brings up second down.
You know how you get in those games where it's so high-scoring, and they always say the team with the ball at the end is going to win. Here it could be just the opposite. The team on defense at the end probably is going to win. It's going to win.
The team with the ball is going to lose because they're going to stuff them at the end. Yeah, you're right. Second down and 10. San Diego 29. Carlson, three-step drop, pass is complete right side. He goes to Leonard Harris, who is replacing Curtis Duncan. And he's going to pick up the first down of the 16-yard line. Gain of 13 on the play.
Arguably the best route for the run and shoot today has been that simple out route by the inside receivers. Webster started, watch the right of your screen. It's just a simple out route. He goes down about 7 yards, turns out. Van Horst just didn't guess right. He made a good inside move, and that enables Harris to get inside the 20 and give the Oilers outstanding field position.
Houston down by 1. There's a look at the yards passing. San Diego 15, Houston 14. 6.5 minutes left. And here is the run part. The run and shoot is good for about 5, maybe 6 yards. They'll mark it almost the 10-yard line. It's going to be second down and 4. Marquez Pope making the tackle. Lorenzo White has rushed for 47 yards in 13 carries.
But even with those yards, Charlie, he's really been a non-factor.
Yeah,
the run game hasn't been consequential for the Oilers here.
Now, interestingly enough, Houston trailing by 1, well within field goal range. They're going to take some time off the clock. They want to score, but they want to score that quickly. They want to give San Diego the least amount of time possible. Swing into the left flat. Marquez Pope was there to make the stop on Webster Slaughter.
That's a route he's seen enough of, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Only about a 2-yard gain there. Pope all over that. You know, Charlie, that's a good point. Sure, you want to take some time off the clock, but don't just, you know, it's always dangerous when you're playing to just kick the field goal. That just isn't wisdom, especially where the game is going today. And you also know, as hot as the Charger kicker is that you don't want to put your defense in the position that they've got to hold them completely out of field goal range.
That was the 7th reception for Webster Slaughter. He has 60 yards, including the touchdown. Little timing pattern in the corner. It is no, not there. So it will be 4th down, and Al Del Greco will come in.
Mentioned earlier, the teams have been picking on Donald Frank, and arguably the biggest offensive play of the game for the Houston Oilers. They go with a fade route to Haywood Jeffries, who comes up with a catch. Watch the feet right there. Oh, ooh, that was close.
Ooh.
Looked like he might have dragged that left toe in front of the line.
It looked on the replay as if he did dot the I. We'll save that one for you. We will show it to you again. Here's the field goal attempt for the lead of 27 yards by Al Del Greco. And it is good. So Del Greco hits from 27 yards, and the Oilers move on top. And we'll be back in a moment.
So do the Oilers have something to complain about? Watch the left foot as it drags the toe. See there, the right foot is down. Look at the left foot. It's clearly on the ground. Now watch the chalk kick up, which would indicate to you that, yes, indeed, that left toe did drag. And maybe, indeed, the Houston Oilers did get a touchdown there, even though the call goes the way of the Chargers.
And had possession all the way, no question about that.
And you can see right there that taped-up groin problem for Haywood Jeffries, gutting it out. The receivers of the Oilers really taking a beating today. Curtis Duncan already out with the sprained foot. You can see, as we look at that tape job, he's got some problems on the inner line.
And here is Eric Bieniemy. He is now the return man. He asked this week to be traded, because he wasn't getting enough playing time with Marion Butts and now Natron Means and Ronnie Harmon. And of course a very costly fumble followed by a foul, a personal foul in last week's ballgame, very costly to San Diego, and then he was on the bench the rest of the ballgame.
And we asked Bobby Ross whether or not he was in the doghouse. He says, no, absolutely not. Now I'm thinking to myself, have we seen Bieniemy on offense today?
No. But Bobby Ross doesn't have a doghouse.
Oh, okay.
And there's Warren Moon. Just relaxing and observing right now.
A lot of controversy as to whether or not, at the salary that Warren Moon has, whether they'll bring him back next year. And certainly the play of Cody Carlson will fuel those rumors this week.
Oh, I think they should bring Warren back. He's one of the greats. Here's John Freese over the middle. This pass is complete. And here is Ronnie Harmon. Harmon, normally a third down back now on this drive with 4:40 and counting. He is in. He'll be in on almost every down. Joe Bowden, the future star, along with Al Smith, the Pro Bowler, make the tackle.
4.5 minutes is plenty of time, and the Chargers with Ronnie Harmon have an outstanding weapon. And why he's off the field there doesn't make any sense.
I don't understand.
They can go underneath to both Ronnie Harmon, the tight ends, whoever else, and move up the field. Plenty of time to get in field goal range.
Houston leads by 2, 17-15. And here is Marion Butts, and he just keeps plowing away. A couple of times in this ballgame, we've seen those kind of flashes of brilliance from Marion Butts, but he has not been consistent with it. He now has 45 yards and 10 carries.
Showing the power that you just mentioned, Marion Butts cuts in 1 tackle, 2 tackles, spins off of that. Look at the number of bodies it takes to bring him down. 4 Houston Oilers to bring Marion Butts down.
And we have a timeout. We have an injury. We'll be back.
The Buffalo Bills. Dan Marino and company will be out for revenge against the team that kept them out of the Super Bowl. But it won't be easy. Jim Kelly's Bills are coming off an upset of the Cowboys and are undefeated. It's a rematch of last year's AFC Championship game. The NFL on NBC next Sunday.
William Fuller, the injured player, he's all right. But look at those uniforms. That is indicative of the kind of ballgame that we've seen today.
Yeah, you know, Charlie, and San Diego's not really representative of that. People don't think of that as smash-mouth, dirty, hard-nosed football, but I tell you what, that's the way it's been today. Really exciting, very physical contest.
First down. San Diego at their own 32-yard line. Oilers up by 2, 17-15. Free, back at quarterback, throw. Too high, incomplete. Sean Jefferson, the intended receiver. Darrell Lewis was there for the Oilers.
That's the responsibility right now. The onus falls squarely on the shoulders of this man, Buddy Ryan. With all the attention, all the notoriety, everything else, he's got the young quarterback in there. When to blitz, when not to blitz. What kind of different strategies and variations to come up with. He's got to keep the Chargers out of field goal range.
On the other side, Bill Arnsparger, defensive coordinator for San Diego, more of a quiet man. He has that same challenge because this one, 3.5 left. A little over 3.5. There's a lot of football left. Breeze back to throw. Has protection. Steps away again. Comes back as all the time in the world. Throws. Passes. Complete. And it will be a first down by about a yard.
Curious point here, Charlie. I noticed that Marion Butts is still in the game. Nice catch by Walker in the middle of the field. But why isn't Ronnie Harmon in the game when clearly they're going to have to throw the ball?
Here he comes.
A lot of time here for Freese. He does a good job moving right and left to buy that time that enables Walker to get open in the middle of the field and give the Chargers a first down. Very heads up. Once again, I reiterate the point. An amazing amount of composure for Freese, who really hasn't had regular season game experience since 1991.
He was out all of last year with the injury. Now Ronnie, a flag down. Ronnie Harmon is back in to the offensive set. This is Nate Lord. And if it stands, it's going to be right at the first down marker. We'll go back to the marker.
Caught it in a very awkward way. He had his leg folded underneath him and got hit in the middle of the back. Very awkward way to land there for number 81. Offsides against the Oilers, they're going to let that go. They certainly want the play.
The report on William Fuller at leg cramps, and he is okay.
While we await the measurement, Jack Riley has to be thinking on the offensive side of the ball for the Chargers. What do we do here to get into field goal range, but not lose the ball, not turn it over, but at the same time not be too conservative? It's a very precarious balance here.
First down. We have a report now. The time here is just right at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Defense offside, number 96 lined up in the neutral zone. Result of the play was a first down. The penalty is declined. First down.
Temperature on the field this afternoon, 88 degrees. Seconds. That is the time left in the ballgame. Houston 17, San Diego 15. And all of the scoring at home this year has been by the foot of John Carney for San Diego. And he may have an opportunity to win this one. Marion Buck. Wow. And there is absolutely nothing. Here's a reminder, following the game on most of these NBC stations, don't miss Eyewitness Video, then Sequest.
Timeout San Diego.
NBC Sunday Night Movie, Quigley Down Under. Viewers on the West Coast, of course, will see these shows at their regularly scheduled time. Timeout is taken on the field. We now have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. We'll step aside. We'll be right back to San Diego.
There's constant.
But Sean, the true drama of the moment is with John Freese, because this is the second timeout that he has taken. Remember the first one? He had the wrong people, the wrong person that wasn't comfortable. Here's with 2:30 left to go. I mean, I think we're seeing inexperience of a backup quarterback who has not had that much actual battle time.
And what could come back to haunt them there is that instead of the clock running and then getting into field goal range, that could preserve some time for Houston when they have to kick back to them, assuming that they were to kick a field goal.
Freese sort of passes completed as a first down. Here is Derek Walker. He is to the 29-yard line. 17 yards on the play. Wilbur Marshall and Darrell Lewis make the tackle at the 29.
Tight end in the middle of the field, covered by the back, or they just let him slip in between. They're looking at everybody else but the tight ends.
Timeout, Houston. That's their first charge, timeout.
But didn't get
it's a 40-second timeout.
And now Houston calls the timeout, and what we mentioned earlier comes into play here. That 30 seconds that could have been drained off the clock by Freese not calling timeout is going to come back and help Houston under the assumption that San Diego kicks here.
And we were talking
gets the ball back.
Same scenario at the other end of the field, that the Oilers wanted to burn off as much time before they scored to give San Diego the least amount of time, and now the tables, of course, are turned. 2:08 is the time remaining in the ball game, and there is the magic foot of John Carney, who at home has hit 11 of 11.
I think another concern here, Charlie, for the San Diego Chargers is that you don't want to find yourself in a position where you're overly conservative. Right now, there's a 30-yard line. That's a 47-yard kick on the infield. That's not exactly a guarantee by any stretch.
No, his career long, a couple of years ago, 54. And this year, the long this year is 50. And his longest in this ball game is 36. He has hit 5 out of 5, 34, 34, 27, 27, and 36. 2:08 left to go. First down, here's Marion Butts. And he's got a couple of yards. Now the 2-minute warning will be given to both benches. We'll step aside, but we'll be back. That's the guarantee. As we come back to San Diego, you can see from the position of the ball, they're on the infield. And so the scuff theory comes into play.
Well, the scuff theory here. The scuff theory. Well, he really doesn't have a choice. Instead of getting inside, there's no, under the assumption that they don't get inside the 10-yard line, regardless, he's going to have to kick off the infield dirt. And that would mean that he probably wants a kick inside 40 yards, because if he scuffs beyond that, that's going to mess with the distance.
Well, you can scuff inside and still just get it up and kind of work its way through. And here's Marion Butts. He jumps to the outside, needs a block, has a screen block, has the first down. Oh, big play for San Diego.
And a big block downfield, as you pointed out, Charlie, by Anthony Miller. Anthony Miller, noted usually as the great pass catcher, does a great job of being out in front of Marion Butts to enable him to get that extra yardage.
A gain of 13 yards on the play and the first down.
You mentioned earlier that William Fuller was out. He was the one that had contained in that play.
Timeout, Houston. That's their second charge team timeout.
So Houston now will take a timeout. They have one timeout remaining. The Chargers have one timeout remaining.
With William Fuller on the bench with leg cramps, they put in Keith McCants. Keith McCants is a recent acquisition off of waivers. He's at the left defensive end. Take a look here. Watch the top of your screen. They lose contain. Stan Brock stays with them, and he lets him get to the outside. And by letting him get to the outside, that enables Butts to get the first down. You saw the block, as you mentioned, by Miller on Dishman to enable him to get those extra yards. Now they're well within safe field goal range. They have to protect the ball here.
This is the 10th play of the drive. They've used up almost 3.5 minutes off of the clock. The Chargers' longest drive of the ball game. And there is John Carney, who is 5 of 5 in the ball game.
Well, after Stan Humphries had led the team to 11 of 5 in an AFC West championship, John Freese was pretty much of a non-entity. People didn't know who he was or what he was doing, and for that matter, didn't really care.
And here is Marion Butts. He is simply trying to get closer. Now the Chargers have that one timeout remaining, and they could well just save it to set up the field goal attempt.
Or they might not have to use it at all.
Timeout, Houston. That's their third and final team timeout.
Houston now takes the 42nd timeout. 1:17. The time remaining in the game. And while we talk about setting up the field goal, don't overlook the fact that Marion Butts, the way that he has been running here in the fourth quarter, if he can get to the outside on grass, he could score a touchdown.
Well, but again, at this point, that of course, that would solve everything. But at this point, their concern is that they just don't want to give the ball up. Charlie, I played a game in 1984 against the Denver Broncos. We're at home against the Raiders. Similar situation. And we're just trying to set up for the field goal. We hand off to Frank Hawkins. He plunges off the left tackle. They strip the ball away from him on the 6-yard line. We lose the game in overtime. Absolutely nothing guaranteed here.
Stan Humphries, 7 of 26, replaced by John Freese, who is at 8 of 15 for 110 yards. Second and 8, the ball at the 13. And here's Marion Butts. And he is now to the 10-yard line. We have some pushing and shoving in the end zone.
Which at this point is
cool. Grab him and take him. Is that Sean Jones? Get him out of there.
That's exactly right. They want the clock to run. You see Stan Brock, the 14-year veteran, sprinting over and saying, what are you doing? Get back to the huddle. Let's let the clock run. Another smart thing that the Chargers did right there, they went to the left hash. We've mentioned it before in other broadcasts. There's a natural hook to most soccer-style kickers. You want it set up on the left hash for that reason.
Butts has carried the last 4 straight plays. 40 seconds and counting. And remember, the Chargers still have that one timeout. And here's Butts. He's about the 8-yard line. Now here they can just take the countdown all the way, stop the clock with a timeout, and let John Carney go after it with maybe 4 seconds on the clock.
Now Freese has to be careful. He's looking over there. He's actually thinking about calling timeout here. He wants to wait. He's got to wait all the way down to 4 seconds. Now he says, the coach said 7, the other player said 5. They can't decide which way to go.
Well, they stop it at 7. So that is the last timeout.
That's their third and final team timeout. 40-second timeout.
And so, football, known as a game of inches, could well be decided by a foot. The foot of John Carney, who will try to hit his 6th field goal of the afternoon.
To duplicate what he did in the opening game against the Seattle Seahawks. And let's not forget, earlier in the game, Sam Arno had some problems with the snap, and John Freese had to save one. So this is not automatic.
And remember that John Kidd, who is the injured kicker, has been the normal holder for John Carney. John Freese is the backup holder. This will be from 27 yards away for the victory.
And when did the odds catch up to you, Charlie? This would be 29 straight field goals. When did the odds catch up?
The snap, good hold. It's there. There are still 3 seconds remaining in the ball game. Remember, we said the timeout with 4 seconds left. They took it with 7 on the clock. There's still 3 left, and so now it's time for the Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton's super play of the game.
Well, gee, we had to think about this one really long and hard, but this is the one that we came up with. Clearly, the player of the game is the man who kicked 6 field goals today, as we mentioned, matching the owner. The Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton super play of the game has to be the field goal by John Carney there. That's the game winner. 27 yards, excellent snap, nice hold right on the infield. Carney, no problem at all, right down the middle. That is our Hager Wrinkle-Free Cotton super play of the game.
Three seconds remaining now. Carney will not kick the ball into the end zone. Inside the last 2 minutes of either half, the clock does not start until the ball has been touched by the receiving team in the field of play.
Well, here brings up an interesting point. Why didn't they just go down to 3 seconds?
Well,
when they're on the field, they should have done it 3 or 4. That would have, the game would have been over.
But they didn't, and here's the kick. And it is touched. Clock is now started. The clock is now at 0. And the Oilers come up just short of San Diego. The final, the San Diego Chargers 18, the Houston Oilers 17. The foot of John Carney, 6 of 6. Field goal attempt. There it is, the winner. Let's go to Los Angeles.